Atlanta, Georgia, just hours before the peach drop downtown that'll ring in the new year. And we come to the Georgia Dome, home to the Chick-fil-A Bowl for 20 seasons. Last year, the Auburn Tigers won it all. A perfect season, a BCS championship, a National Coach of the Year, and a Heisman Trophy. Year 3 of the Gene Chizik era has been more of a struggle, a rebuilding year that's seen 5 losses, albeit to top 15 teams. And with all SEC tailback Michael Dyer suspended, the offense will rest on the shoulders of Clint Mosley tonight. Virginia was the surprise of the ACC in 2011. Under Conference Coach of the Year Mike London, there's been a football resurgence in Charlottesville, with the Cavaliers vastly improved on both sides of the ball, led by Perry Jones and an excellent ground game. Tonight, they clash, the ACC and the SEC, in the Chick-fil-A Bowl next. And we welcome you to the 44th annual Chick-fil-A Bowl from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. And our matchup, as has been the case several years, the ACC and the SEC getting together, Virginia and number 25 Auburn. Welcome to Atlanta, everybody, and Happy New Year. Brad Nussler along with Todd Blackledge. Partner, you and Holly and I started the football season here on the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic. We're set to send out 2011 in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. And for the Virginia Cavaliers, what a season it's been. They were picked 5th in the Coastal Division of the ACC. They were 1 game away from playing for the ACC Championship.
Yeah, great job by Mike London and his staff going from 4-8 to 8-4. You know, London's known as a motivator, as a team builder, and one thing that really stood out, 4 of their 8 wins were decided in the final seconds. That shows a team that's really all in.
We talked about Auburn having 5 losses, all to tough SEC teams, obviously. And there's been a lot of distractions now leading up to this bowl game.
Yeah, very interesting to see how they'll respond. You know, when you go back to the end of the season, first of all, their defensive coordinator, Ted Ruth, left for a similar position at Central Florida. That means Gene Chizik will not only be the head coach, he'll be the defensive coordinator tonight. Michael Dyer, their best offensive player, ran for over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, was suspended for violation of team rules. He's not here. They've got to adjust to that. And then their offensive coordinator, Gus Malzahn, is here. Will call the game, but shortly after this game, he'll take off to be the head coach at Arkansas State. Wondering how Auburn will handle all those distractions tonight.
And Virginia, how will they handle some key players, especially on defense, not being in the game tonight?
Yeah, 2 critical losses. Their middle linebacker, Steve Greer, their leading tackler, not able to play. Also, their top cornerback, Chase Minifield, a 5th-year senior, both sustained knee injuries in the practice in Charlottesville leading up to the bowl. For Auburn, they get their best receiver back, Emory Blake. We had Auburn twice this year, never got to see him play. They're a different team when he's in the lineup.
Well, as you can see behind us, you've heard of raining cats and dogs. It's raining cows inside the Georgia Dome. We'll check in with Holly and we'll kick it off when we come back. Just about set for the kickoff of the Chick-fil-A Classic. First, we check in the 3rd member of our team. We talked about the suspension of Michael Dyer. That changes things, Holly, for what Auburn does.
That's right. You don't just lose a 1,000-yard rusher and not skip a beat. But what Auburn will do is try to use Ontario McCaleb. He's a speed guy. They'll ask him to do a few more things, but also look for freshman Trey Mason. He's only had 19 attempts rushing this season, but they'll ask him to do the stuff Michael Dyer did. Tough stuff up in between the tackles. And then look for more of Kyle Frazier. He's the 3rd-string quarterback, but he's their run game in the quarterback position. So the coaches say we'll see more of him. They're going to have to be creative to find ways to run the football tonight without Michael Dyer.
All right, Holly, thank you. As we're just about set for the 44th Chick-fil-A Bowl. Interesting matchup. Last year, Gene Chizik was the National Coach of the Year. And this year, 7-5 and calling the defensive shots tonight as the coordinator. And on the other side, the ACC Coach of the Year this season in Mike London, who's done a remarkable job in just his 2nd season in Charlottesville. Auburn 4-3 all-time here in the Georgia Dome. They've won 3 straight. I did the last Chick-fil-A Bowl they were in. Cody Burns on a touchdown in overtime. I missed the peach drop because we went to overtime. I didn't get home for the party until about 12:15. So 2011 just about set to close. Auburn will be right back here in the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic next year against the Clemson Tigers. But right now, they want to finish both these teams on a high note to head into spring and then the season that will follow. Virginia won the toss They want the football. So Cody Parkey will park it right there on the tee. Alex Shepard is back deep for the Cavaliers, wearing orange helmets for the first time since 1978. A little different look for the Cavaliers tonight.
Cody Parkey, one of the best in the country at kicking the ball out of the end zone. 34 touchbacks, the result of his kickoff. So that's been a real strength of this Auburn team.
Second in the conference and third in the country in that capacity. There's a lot of blue and orange in this building tonight. And here we go. And the kick is deep, and as Todd said, you're not going to return those kind. So the Cavaliers will start offensively at their own 20-yard line. And that means Michael Rocco, sophomore out of Lynchburg, Virginia. And he's had a pretty solid campaign, and you know his daddy well, Todd.
Well, and his dad played with me at Penn State, Frank Rocco, and that was also his high school coach at Liberty Christian Academy in Lynchburg. And he's a very knowledgeable guy. He grew up around the game. He understands it, and I think he got better as the season went along.
Already a noisy Georgia Dome. Play action for Rocco. On a bootleg, he's got a man wide open, but falling down is his tight end, Colter Phillips. Phillips would have had a big gainer out of that had he kept his footing.
I think we'll see a lot of misdirection out of the Virginia offense. They know they don't have the skill athletes to maybe just run and get separation and get open, but they respect the fast flow tendencies of this Auburn defense, and misdirection will help them.
3 wide receivers set for the Cavaliers. They show a lot of different looks offensively. They fake the end around. They give it to Jones, trying to break tackles. Did break a couple, and he got about a yard on a nothing. McNeil made the stop from the secondary. So that brings up the opening third down of the night, and the Cavaliers under 40% on the year on their third down conversions.
Well, the guy he likes to go to, his go-to receiver, Chris Bird, number 18, leading receiver coming into the game with 60 catches. They move him to a lot of different spots. He's in the slot right now to the bottom of the screen.
Number 2 all-time in the Cavaliers receiving charts, and now he's on the move on third down. Rocco's looking that way, fires and got it incomplete, first down. And Chris Bird, as Todd called it, picks up the first and moves the chains. Let's take a look at our impact players. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Perry Jones closing in on 900 yards rushing on the season. His tailback mate is Kevin Parks, and he'll see a lot of work. Second among ACC freshmen in the rushing charts. Chase Minifield, an impact player because he's not in the lineup tonight. And that could have a huge bearing on what Auburn does through the air. Parks now in the backfield for the Cavaliers. Straight drop, Rocco, plenty of time. Across the middle, one-handed stab, incomplete. Tim Smith had a hand on it. And maybe the best guy on the front wall, Corey Lemonier, limping off for Auburn. Holly?
Guys, he just took a blow to his right leg. He's complaining of some pain above the knee and down in the high ankle area. He's trying to walk it off right now, guys, but he's definitely in some pain. Looks like they're going to take him back to the locker room for a moment.
He's one of their main guys on that defensive front. He's forced 5 fumbles this year and has close to 10 sacks on the season. So that'd be a big loss to the Auburn front wall. Second down at 10. Auburn thinking about a blitz. On the ground is Parks, and Auburn swarming all over him after a short game.
See, Virginia has to try to establish their running game. The last 2 games, their running game has really kind of dropped off. Against Florida State, a very fast and physical defense, only 78 yards rushing, and then in the shutout loss to Virginia Tech, only 30 yards rushing on 26 carries. And both defenses fast with a lot of movement, but Virginia, to be successful, has to have balance.
Matt Snyder comes in as a third receiver, and the tight end Phillips goes out to the top of the screen with Bird in another passing situation at third down and 8. Last time it was Bird who picked up the first.
Auburn showing man.
Rocco's going to flare it out of the backfield to Jones with blockers in front. Jones has got a first down and more. Good looking play, well executed, and the Cavaliers will move the chains again.
Well, Perry Jones is not only their best runner, but he's a matchup problem in the passing game. Here he is right here. They're just going to get him isolated on a little screen, get him the ball quickly. Nobody picks him up quick. That's a design screen. See those linemen out in front? They get bodies on defenders, and Perry Jones, a very effective receiver in this Virginia offense.
They got 14 on 3rd and 8, and they move it to midfield on this, the opening possession for the Cavaliers. They fake the draw, play action. Rocco again, plenty of time, and he threw that one a little low, and Bird couldn't handle it.
Yeah, kind of short on that one. Bird was open behind the linebackers. You know, when you run crossing routes, you usually try to throw over the linebackers and in front of the safeties, and he had a nice hole there for Bird. Just kind of pulled the trigger a little too short.
I think he was so wide open, he kind of aimed it instead of letting it rip. There's Dad with a visor.
Yep, Frank and Leslie, again, went to school with them. That's their daughter Jennifer sitting next to him in the blue sweater. She's a school teacher in Charlottesville. Big football family.
Dad's closing his eyes. Looks like he's praying here on 2nd down and 10. This time they do hand it off. And maybe a pickup of 3 for Parks. Darren Bates, the outside linebacker. The leading tackler on the Auburn defense, makes a stop. Corey Lemonier's coming back in. So whatever ailed him is over, hopefully, for the Auburn defense.
Well, he's clearly their best pass rusher. A great up-the-field rusher, very explosive first step. A nice battle to watch, him against that right tackle, Morgan Moses. Morgan's a big, young athlete at 6'6", 305 pounds. Has a little trouble with speed rushers, though.
They've been good on 3rd down in this opening drive. See if they can pick up another one. 3rd down at 6. Rocco pumps and now goes deep sideline. Broken up by Nico Thorpe, the captain of the defense.
Beautiful play by Nico Thorpe, because he didn't turn his head around to find the ball, but he read the eyes of the receiver. And as he saw the receiver zero in on the ball, he instinctively threw his hand up. Watch, he doesn't get his head around, but he reads the eyes, and at the last minute throws that right hand up and knocks the ball away.
And that'll force a punt. So they picked up a couple of 3rd and longs, but not that time. And Jimmy Howell will punt. Quan Bray, the freshman, a Georgia native out of LaGrange, waits on the other end. It's a rugby-style punter. And he drops it down and fielded on one hop. Gutsy call by Bray, and he goes down in his tracks. Ray Keys down on the special teams to make the stop. And Auburn will start in a hole as we take a look at the impact players. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A. And Ontario McCaleb, as Holly told you, is going to be a main cog in this offense tonight with Michael Dyer suspended. They do have Emory Blake back, and as Todd said, this is the 3rd time we've done Auburn. We saw him for 1 play. He hasn't been healthy all year. He says he's close to 100%. And defensively, Corey Lemonier, we've talked about him already, and it's good to see that he came back in that last series.
One interesting adjustment that Virginia is going to make. Their best defensive lineman, Matt Conrad, is a defensive tackle, but he's going to play defensive end the first couple possessions to try to stop the perimeter runs of the Auburn offense. Number 94.
Lutzenkirk in the tight end in motion. Mosley in his own end zone just got away and got back near the line of scrimmage. That would have been a safety as Conrad was coming.
Well, Cam Johnson was the first guy there, number 56. On the other side, had an outstanding season. 11 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. He was the first guy to force Mosley up in the pocket, and Conrad there to wrap him up.
One of those guys that moved from linebacker to defensive end last year. As much of that Virginia defense has done, safeties became linebackers, linebackers became ends. Here's Blake on the wideout screen, and he got it out across the 12-yard line. And still going to bring up a 3rd down for Auburn on their opening drive.
This is an area where, you know, there's a lot of areas where it's a big difference with this Auburn offense from last year to this year with the absence of Cam Newton. 3rd down, one of the biggest. Coming into the game, 36% conversion. That's 103rd in the country. A year ago, they were 53% on 3rd down because of the running ability of Cam Newton in 3rd down situation.
In their last game against Alabama, they were only 3 for 15 in this kind of situation. And this one off the fingertips of Lutzenkirk. And Auburn not only will have a 3 and out, they'll have to punt from their own end zone.
See, I just want to go back to that point. Last year, with Cam Newton as a running threat, their leading rusher, anytime it was 3rd and 5, 6 or less, it was a dual threat situation. It could be a run or a pass. When you don't have a running threat quarterback, it makes it a little easier for the defense to zero in on the pass.
Stephen Clark is in his own end zone. Dominique Terrell is back on the other end, and the Cavaliers should get excellent field position out of this. Clark hasn't had one block this year. It looks like Virginia's coming, but they do back off, and they've got the return on. And they let it roll, and that's going to cost him. I don't know that he didn't touch that ball. Very close anyway. Nope. Auburn fans thought what I thought. Almost looked like the return man touched it. But with the roll, pretty good punt. Terrell just got out of the way in time. Virginia will have it back when we come back. Well, the Cavaliers at least switched field positions by driving down and then holding Auburn to a 3-and-out. They start this time offensively their own 36-yard line, and they change up personnel at the very last second.
The strength of this Virginia team coming into the season and at this point is their offensive line. All 5 guys started every game this year, stayed healthy and started every game. That's a huge bonus for any offensive team.
You almost never hear of that. And here that offensive line comes off the ball pretty well for Perry Jones to pick up about 3. Holly?
Well, Gene Chizik is calling the defense as the coordinator today, and one of the differences I've noticed so far, guys, is he's wearing glasses. It's kind of hard to see his call menu. He doesn't normally wear those during the game, but he said it's going to be a big adjustment. All 11 years he was a college defensive coordinator before the head coaching job came. He was up in the booth, and anybody who's called defenses will tell you that is a huge adjustment. So he's got a graduate assistant up in the box that's his eyes, and he's doing it down from the sidelines, guys. And
he's got the cheaters for an extra pair of eyes. Looking at that defensive chart. Rocco, quick throw, outside, complete. Darius Jennings, a freshman, has got a first down.
I just want to follow up on that point about the change for Gene Chizik. The guy he has up in the booth, the GA, is Dustin Landry, who has been with Gene for 3 years. He was with him at Iowa State as a GA in 2008, and then the last 2 years here at Auburn. So he's very comfortable with Dustin being in the box and providing the information that he needs on the field.
He told us yesterday, I had to pick this game to become defensive coordinator again with all the shifts and motion that Virginia shows you. They're right at midfield again, the Cavaliers, with a first down. The give is to Kevin Parks. He takes it outside and got the corner. Parks, and then buries his head into Nico Thorpe with a big gainer. And a first down, Cavaliers.
Yeah, not a very good job by Demetrius McNeil, number 12. He was an unblocked guy on the edge of the defense, and Parks just kind of froze him. And watch the end of this run. Bates is going to get blocked, but McNeil is unblocked, and he takes a bad angle to Parks, and Parks is able to turn the corner on the defense.
Got 23 yards down to the 27. So the Cavaliers have got something working here on their second offensive possession. 3 wideouts here. And a quick throw by Rocco is behind Chris Bird, his intended receiver. And Jermaine Whitehead was right there with him. Capital One Bowl Week concludes Monday afternoon. 4 games, all starts noon Eastern on ESPNU. The Ticket City Bowl, Houston and Penn State. ABC at 1 o'clock. It's Michigan State and Georgia. And the Outback Bowl on ESPN at 1. It's the Huskers of Nebraska taking on Steve Spurrier's Gamecocks in the Capital One Bowl. And at 1 o'clock on ESPN2, Ohio State and Florida in the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. That's a full day of action. Here we're in the first quarter as Rocco play action going deep. And there, Bird, touchdown. Rocco to Bird, the hookup, 27 yards and a touchdown.
Not a whole lot of success so far running the football outside of that last run by Parks, but enough to set up play action and free safeties and linebackers and allow you to throw over the top of the defense for a big play.
So Virginia strikes first, capping a 64-yard drive. His 7th touchdown pass of 35+, his 12th touchdown pass of the year. And for Chris Bird, his 2nd scoring reception of the season. And the scoring play under review, all the plays under review in college football over the course of a game. But what a nice start. They had a good first drive and had to punt it away and did a great job of burying Auburn, and then they switched field position and took it right down for the score. Well, to me, there's no doubt there.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he moved the ball at the end, but he secured that catch all the way to the ground.
and all the way out into the chalk.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Chris Bird flapping his wings. So Robert Randolph in for the point after.
I just like the feel, the rhythm of the Virginia offense here in the first quarter of play.
The extra point is good. And with 8:05 remaining in the first quarter, the Cavaliers strike first. Michael Rocco with his 12th touchdown pass of the year.
ESPN College Football, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And the Capital One Venture Card. What's in your wallet?
Beautiful New Year's Eve in Atlanta. Happy New Year. 7-0. Happy times for the Cavalier fans right now. Eat more War Eagle instead of eat more chicken. There's been some chicken consumed in this city this week, and we've done our share.
Yes.
Yeah. 64-yard drive, good-looking drive, and 5 plays for the Cavaliers. 27-yard touchdown pass, and they lead 7-0. Hinkabine the kick. This one should be returnable if it doesn't go out of bounds, and it will go out of bounds. So that gives Auburn good field position. They did not have good field position on their first possession.
Kicking team, the ball will be placed at the 40-yard line. First down.
Something you don't want to do is knock one out of bounds and give the opposition the ball at the 40-yard line. Todd takes back to the touchdown.
Well, Chris Bird is right here, all right, and he's going to run a post for the touchdown. But the guy that makes the play is the tight end Friedman. He's going to run and hold the coverage of this safety right there. And by doing so, that isolates single coverage for Bird with no safety help over the top. Rocco reads it and makes a beautiful throw. But the tight end's very important in holding that second defender and allowing the single coverage.
Just a split second that Ryan Smith bought that, and that cost him having help back there for the touchdown. So we'll see how Auburn does. 3 and out on their first possession, but a start at their own 40-yard line here. Ontario McCaleb in the backfield in the shotgun with Mosley. And he gets the call, and he finds some room, and he's got a first down. Boy, he's quick in the hole. They didn't expect a lot of that. He runs so many of those fly sweeps and that type of thing. When Dyer's in there, he just took it straight up that time.
Well, and Virginia's lucky that he tripped because he has great speed and space, and he might have taken that all the way.
Trey Mason comes in to take his spot at the 48-yard line. He gets his first carry. This one was not going to go anywhere thanks to Will Hill.
The guy we've not seen yet for Auburn is Kyle Frazier, the backup quarterback, who is more the running threat from the quarterback position. We'll see plenty of him tonight. So far, it's been all Mosley.
And second down at 10 for the Tigers. Play fake. Mosley had it tipped at the line, trying to get it out to Jay Wisner, but Conrath got a hand in the way.
Well, Conrath is tall at 6'7", and when we shook hands with him yesterday, he may have the biggest hands of anybody that I've met this year. He has gigantic mitts, and he got one up that time and knocked. He's also blocked 3 field goals this season.
All ACC performer. Doesn't talk much, but he plays big. Third down at 10. Again, the Tigers will look to the sideline to Gus Malzahn and those placards they have over there with the play calls.
Just switched the position of Emory Blake, moved him inside to the slot. Here he is right here. Lutzenkirchen on the outside.
Mosley over the middle. It's hit, almost intercepted. Talaferro had his hands on it and couldn't hold it. And Mosley slow to get up in the Auburn backfield. And he is going to have to limp to the sideline. That might bring Kyle Frazier in a lot quicker than we thought.
They switched formations, and Virginia was in tune to where the ball might be going. That's a beautiful zone drop by Taliaferro. And then on the back end of the play, Conrath and Cam Johnson meet at the quarterback, and Mosley takes a good shot.
Stephen Clark into punt. Mosley flat down on his backside on the sideline. High spiral. Can Auburn cover this before it gets to the end zone? Not quite. Would have been perfect at about the 1-foot line, but McNeil couldn't quite get to it. Well, the Auburn quarterback's got some problems. We'll check out him when we come back.
Hello, my name's Colonel Robin Gentry in Kabul, Afghanistan, and to my daughter Taylor and the Cavalier marching band, and to the whole Who football team, go Cavs.
All right, Colonel, Happy New Year to you too. Get home soon and safely, will you? Happy New Year to everybody. Not a happy time for Mosley right now as they're working out him on the sideline. And Barrett Trotter has already started warming up along with Kyle Frazier. Meanwhile, the Cavaliers with a touchdown lead. Looked like they had motion on the play on the toss to Richardson. And he only got a couple yards. It'll be 2nd down and 8 after we check in with Reese Davis. Happy New Year, Reese.
Happy New Year, my friend. Primetime Pulse on ESPN. On ESPN2, less than a half minute to go in Bloomington. What a great game this has been. Indiana and Ohio State, number 2. Hoosiers up by 1. Cody Zeller just fouled out a few moments ago. And on ESPNU, a couple outstanding teams, Brad. We're going to see them soon when we get in hoops mode. Creighton and Wichita State. Blue Jays up by 3 with a minute to change the play.
Thanks, Reese. Don't remind me about basketball right now. I started to get through this in the Sugar Bowl. Let's check in with Holly. Holly, you have an update on the quarterback situation?
Yes, well, athletic trainers have examined Clint Mosley's right ankle. They're pushing on a point just above his ankle joint. Every time they push, he grimaces in pain. But he's got some good flexibility. They're pushing his foot back, and right now you can see they're wrapping up that right ankle. They're going to see if he can stand up, put some weight on it. I also saw them just give him some kind of an oral, probably anti-inflammatory. Guys, he just put his head in his hand like, finally, I get a chance in a bowl game, and it's got to be frustrating for him.
Yeah, it sure is. Well, Virginia's found themselves in a lot of 3rd downs, and they've dug out of him. Can they pick up a 3rd and 7? Rocco lofts this one. It's another 1st down. Darius Jennings, before he's dragged back by the leg by Chris Davis.
Tell you what, you got to credit this offensive line. We talked about them. All 5 guys started every game this year. They're giving Michael Rocco excellent protection right now. They're mixing run and pass, but that was a pure pass situation. 3rd down and 9. He had plenty of time to survey the field and make an accurate throw.
There's the thing Todd was talking about. All the linemen have started every game. That's almost unheard of. They've only allowed 15 sacks this year, and I can see why. They have built a wall around Michael Rocco so far in this 1st quarter. They fake the end around. Deep sideline, back shoulder throw incomplete. The fullback got his hands on it. He's a good receiver, but it was pretty good coverage by Chris Davis.
Yeah, Chris Davis read that. Virginia has been able to sneak their fullback out of the backfield open in the last couple games. Auburn was ready for it that time. Not only did you have the linebacker Bates in man-to-man coverage, but the cornerback, who didn't have any responsibilities on that side, Davis, able to come over like a safety and knock the ball away as well.
Well, brings up 2nd down and 10 as we're at 5:17 remaining. 1st quarter. Barrett Trotter continuing to warm up on the Auburn sideline. Rocco, this throw is too low, intended for Perry Jones, and they find themselves right where they've been most of this quarter, 3rd down and long.
Well, if you're Auburn right here, this is where you need your guy, Corey Lemonier, to come up and make a big play. He's been kind of quiet. He had to take himself out of the game with a little bump on the leg. But this is a situation for him right now to change momentum a little bit and make a big play for his team.
He says to Chris Sanders, you take the right side, I'm coming out to the left on 3rd down and 10. As Auburn flops their defensive ends. Quick slip screen and a good job defensively by Thurisi in the secondary.
Read very quickly by Thurisi. You hope to get a lineman to get a piece of that if he doesn't read it so quickly, but it was a quick read and a nice tackle out in space.
So Jimmy Howell will punt again, and Quan Bray fielded the last one deep in his own territory. He should have a better shot at this one. Auburn got some nice pressure, and they blocked the punt, and they got it. Blake Burgess and the Tigers with a big play on special teams. They just sent 4 guys powered up the middle. I don't know if that punt took too long or not, but Auburn with a big break here.
I don't think it took too long. They just were committed to the block. Number 86 is going to come free off the edge, and he takes a perfect angle to the football.
Garrett Harper.
You see the big guys got occupied on the inside, and that allowed Harper, if he doesn't take the right angle, he doesn't get it, but a perfect angle to the football, and then gets the recovery.
He did it all on that one play. Garrett Harper with a huge opportunity now for the Auburn offense at the 15-yard line, and it's Kyle Frazier at the controls. The freshman quarterback gives it off. McCaleb, corner, 5, first and goal, Auburn.
Now, we may not see Barrett Trotter in this possession, but the rest of this game, if Mosley can't play, we'll see both Frazier and Trotter. Frazier more the running quarterback, the guy who gives them the quarterback run game. Right now they're in an overload to the right side. You got 3 offensive linemen on the right side.
We might see Frazier run it right here. Straight ahead. Touchdown. The ball is out at the end. Virginia's saying they've got it. But the Auburn offense comes up with a football. Lutzenkirchen.
The only thing that has to happen is the ball just has to cross the plane of the goal line for it to be a touchdown.
I thought he was in, but we'll get another chance to look at it here. He's got both hands wrapped around the ball, too. There's the scrum at the end of the play.
Play is under further review.
We'll review it with 4:02 remaining. We'll find out if indeed it is an Auburn touchdown. That would be 1 point away from tying things up. Kyle Frazier thinking that he's got a 3-yard touchdown run, and we're still waiting word after the replay.
Well, that was the ruling on the field, touchdown. Henry Coley, number 44, is the guy that's going to rip the football out. As Frazier is fighting for the end zone, 44 rips it out. There was a fight for the football then between Jake Snyder, number 90 in orange, and Lutzenkirchen, number 43 in blue. The ball definitely came out. It's just a matter of whether he crossed the plane with the football before the ball was ripped out by Coley.
Nick Traynor is our replay official as they continue to review this play. And our referee, Dennis Hannigan, will give us the official call here in a second.
Again, the ruling on the field was touchdown.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands touchdown.
Frazier's second rushing touchdown of the year. He put his head down. It was amazing that the ball even did come out because he had both arms wrapped tightly around it, but Virginia was working it, and at that point the ball had crossed the plane. And the scoring drive, a short one, thanks to a great play on special teams. Extra point by Parkey is up and good. And we're even at the 4-minute mark thanks to that young man, Garrett Harper, with the block punt that led to the touchdown. Well, we've got a minute. Let's look back to what my partner ate all year long. All year long, Todd's Taste of the Town. Let's see what we got.
Where did Todd go for Taste of the Town?
Dwayne Purvis All-American Burger. Cheeseburger with creamy peanut butter on the bottom bun. For my purposes, A-OK. It's pretty good, doesn't it, Fred?
You got it, man.
Crazy about Tiffany's. Crazy. Where are the Blackledge boys when I need them? I love my job. So you know what? Time to go to work. Time to go to work. Mama does know best. Yes, she does.
That was great.
That was the one that's like deep fried after
Twice
it's
fried.
Twice fried.
Twice cooked chicken. Yeah, what a great year. With the 5th year of Taste of the Town.
Yep.
You went with me a few times.
A few times. I did help you with that big Sunday.
The ice cream, yeah.
When you didn't have the boys around. But everybody asked me, do you go with Todd every week? I said if I went with Todd every week, they'd have to have a wide angle lens up there to get me in the screen. I don't know how you stay that way. But
well, we both get on that treadmill about the same amount of time, but had a lot of fun with it again this year.
Tie game, 7-7. And the kick is again going to be about 6 yards deep, and Virginia will start at the 20-yard line. Fans, with ESPN's new football game, you are the most explosive player on the field. The return man. Hit the gap, break tackles, take it to the house. Play for free at ESPNReturnman.com today. This guy playing the real game and doing a good job of it so far. 7 out of 13, including a 27-yard touchdown pass to Chris Bird.
I like the game that Bill Lazor's calling, too. The offensive coordinator, a young guy who, second year at Virginia, was a quarterback coach for the Seattle Seahawks the last 2 years prior to coming to Virginia. Spent 7 years in the NFL coaching quarterbacks under some pretty good head coaches. Did a nice job calling this game.
Play fake and the bootleg by Rocco. Thinking to throw back against his body, and wisely comes the other way and throws it out of bounds. The Cavaliers in their orange jerseys and orange helmets. There's a lot of blue and orange in here tonight, Holly.
It's very confusing. This looks like a home game for either team, and the reason why Auburn's very first football coach in history, Dr. George Petrie, was a graduate of the University of Virginia. So 5 years later, when he went to Auburn to collect the guys and start a football team, he decided to go with his alma mater's colors. So, guys, they are exactly the same colors. It has been a very confusing week in the team hotels. We're just going with if they're clapping after an Auburn play, then we know they're Auburn fans.
Good call. At the 20, second down and 10 for the Cavaliers. A throw quickly out and complete, and the ball comes out at the end of the play. Auburn's got it. Ripped out from Perry Jones.
Yeah, Chris Davis, I think, made the play. You know, he was in tight coverage, first of all. And you could just tell that they're trying to squeeze down on these quick routes. Even though the completion was made, Chris Davis didn't give up on the play. Here's the completion in tight coverage. And then Chris Davis just doesn't give up on the play and rips the football out before Perry Jones goes to the ground.
Again, a great job right there by number 11, ripping, and that is the epitome of ripping. And another big play by Auburn, this time their defense, not their special teams, and it sets their offense up in great shape again at the 32-yard line. Trotter, quick throw. Going to be a loss on this play, though. Nice job defensively by Leroy Reynolds, who made the stop. Well, when we did our first Auburn game this year, this is a guy that was a starting quarterback.
Yeah, he started the first 7 games. He got banged around a little bit. About midway through the year, got replaced by Mosley. Got kind of replaced as the second guy in by Kyle Frazier. But here he is with an opportunity to lead the football team again.
2nd and 13. Here comes the pressure. And the throw's incomplete, intended for Trevon Reed. And that time the Cavaliers brought the house on Trotter.
I think what Jim Reed, the defensive coordinator, is feeling, hey, new guy in. He hasn't been in the game, hasn't been in the flow. Let's go after him a little bit. See if we can put some pressure on him. And that time they forced an errant throw.
There's Jim, the defensive coordinator. 3rd down and 13. Trotter wanted to throw back the other way. Goes to the wide side to Wisner, and he's short of the first down.
Short of the first down, but a good completion that might give them an opportunity to try a long field goal. You know, if that's incomplete, then they're looking at a punt situation for sure.
Parkey's long this year is 43 yards. And this is going to be right in that territory. Be a 44-yard field goal attempt. Ryan White to hold, and Cody Parkey, the sophomore out of Jupiter, Florida, to try to take advantage of what his defense gave him. Field goal is going to go wide to the left. No good.
Big stop for the Cavalier defense.
Yep.
You know, those sudden change situations are huge momentum swingers in games. And the Virginia defense rose to the challenge with a 3-and-out and then a missed field goal.
Had the distance, but wide left. Mike London said, okay, that last mistake didn't cost us.
I think what Virginia's going to have to do is try to find some way to stretch the field in the passing game, because Auburn is trying to clamp down on the short, quick throws right now.
They'll go to the ground game. And Kevin Parks with another burst and probably a first down. Oh, he's quick.
Well, he's quick and he's short. I think, you know, they've got big offensive linemen, and he's listed at 5'8", which means he's really probably only about 5'7". And he just gets in behind those big linemen, and he's hard to find.
He got all but the last foot or so. Second down, less than one. This time the fullback gets a little sugar, and he's got a first down, and he's butting heads into the next level. Max Moline, Freeman, and Davis bring him down, but he easily got a first down, although we got a flag at the end of the play. So the officials will have a little get together, and Dennis Hennigan with the call.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 55. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, we told you Corey Lemonier would make an impact tonight. That's not the kind of impacts he wanted to make. His defensive coordinator and head coach has pulled him to the side, while Virginia, by penalty, moves back into Tiger territory.
Well, now it's a great opportunity after the first down on 2 runs and a penalty to go play action here and take a shot down the field.
That's Bird, who has the touchdown tonight in motion. Rocco got some pressure that time, and it was batted down at the line of scrimmage. And another penalty flag flies in the secondary. Don't forget College Game Day, new time, 10 a.m. on ESPNU at 11 o'clock. 2 hours leading into the Capital One Bowl.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 6. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And back-to-back personal fouls on Gene Chiswick's defense, and he is hot. Mincy with that one.
I'll tell you what, the head coach is going to get really upset with the defensive coordinator. Oh, wait a minute, it's the same guy. He's going to be mad at his team. The end of the play, 2 plays in a row, away from the action, down the field after the play, unnecessary roughness, personal fouls, and they're just giving yardage to Virginia right now.
Auburn getting gashed by their own mistakes. And the Cavaliers first down at the Tiger 29. Empty backfield. Rocco. This might be a double pass. Barry Jones. He's going to pull it down. He does have a pass to his credit this year. But not that time.
I'll tell you what, that's good defense that time. Credit Ryan White, number 19, who stayed at home. He didn't go for the fake. Again, Virginia's feeling the momentum going their way. 2 costly penalties. They take a shot at a trick play, expecting the defense to bite, and Ryan White stayed right at home in coverage.
So let's see what Bill Lazor's got up for this situation. Second down and 8. Rocco looks left and comes back across the middle to Jones. He's a yard shy of the first down. Lemonier, who's back in there after the personal foul, made the tackle.
See, I mentioned that Perry Jones is an excellent receiver. 41 catches on the year coming in, and he's a mismatch problem. That time, he's a tailback coming out of the backfield working on a defensive end. Lemonier, who had dropped into coverage. That's a matchup that favors the offense, and Rocco found him very quickly.
You have an eye set here again on third down and a yard. Parks is the tailback. He'll get the handle and get the first down, but not by much. He might even have to look at this one.
Left foot spot or a right foot spot? Looks like a right foot spot.
I think so, and that should be a first down. And it is. The old right foot spot. Plenty as the first quarter coming to a close. Been a good ball game. All those folks in orange and blue. Orange and blue officially for Virginia. Burnt orange and navy blue. At the end of one, both colors even at 7. Set to start the second quarter in Atlanta. 7-7. A quarter dominated statistically by Virginia, but that doesn't mean much if you block a punt. And that's what Auburn did. That block punt led to the touchdown. And the Cavaliers driving down to 1st and goal.
Wow, nice quick hitter by Perry Jones. They went with the quick count coming out to start the quarter. Kind of caught the Auburn defense back in their stance a little bit. And Perry Jones showed a little burst.
If you're just joining us here early in the second quarter, the majority of this Virginia drive was catapulted by mistakes defensively and 2 personal foul penalties on the Auburn Tiger defense. That's what's helped them go 68 yards. This is the 8th play of the drive. 1st and goal at the 5. Rocco wanted to swing it out, and what a catch by Parks, but he lost yardage on the deal. Aaron Bates made the hit. Quite a grab, though, by Kevin Parks. A one-hand stab. The 2 number 25s out there going one-on-one.
Yeah, Michael Rocco looked like he was thinking about throwing that away. That clock had kind of gone off in his head. He knew he had to get rid of the football. And kind of got caught in between throwing it or throwing it away. And Parks went up and made a great catch.
Parks did the instinctive thing. If he would have had another chance at that, he would have let it go because they lost 4 yards. 2nd and goal back at the 9. And now Parks on the run behind his big offensive lineman, gets it back down to the 5.
They pulled their center that time. Anthony Mahota was out in front. Parks just kind of put his hand right on his hip and just kind of rode him right through the hole. Pretty nice run there on 2nd down. 3rd and 5 right now. If you're Michael Rocco, you got to be smart. You know, you want to take care of the football. You don't want to throw an interception trying to force a ball in here. You're in field goal range to take the lead. And you want to make sure you come away with points if you don't have what you like.
His biggest target would be coming right there towards you, number 89, Colter Phillips, the tight end. 3rd down and goal, and they got to call a timeout. They were running out of time. So they'll have time to think about it, talk about it, and see whether or not they can take a touchdown lead when we return. Frank Rocco looking on as his son's got it down at the 6-yard line on the 3rd and goal.
Keep an eye on Dominique Terrell, number 2. He was a high school quarterback, young wide receiver that's in the game.
Rocco across the middle. Touchdown, Bird, his 2nd of the night.
Boy, that's a beautiful job by Bird, just finding the soft part of the defense and sitting right down to give his quarterback a target. Virginia uses a lot of bunch formation, so they all come off at the same time off the line of scrimmage, and then they spread out into routes, and Bird did a beautiful job sitting down.
Randolph's extra point is good. 73-yard drive in 10 plays, much of it courtesy of the Auburn defense. And here's the touchdown pass, 2nd of the night between these 2 guys.
And watch Bird just sat down, showed his numbers to the quarterback, didn't drift, didn't fade. That's what a veteran receiver does. Show the numbers to the quarterback, secure the catch for the touchdown.
14-7. Rocco to Bird. That's the battery twice so far tonight. Let's check in with Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Brad, time for a Sports Center right now in basketball. Indiana beats Ohio State 74-70. Hoosiers, first season in school history, they beat number 1 and number 2. You recall they'll beat Kentucky earlier in the season. By the way, didn't storm the floor tonight. Why? Because they're Indiana. They ought to expect to beat highly ranked teams. Good job by the Hoosier fans. And earlier, the team from Atlanta had a little bit of a rambling wreck after squandering a 14-point lead in the second half. Lost to Utah in overtime 30-27 in the Hyundai Sun Bowl. Sports Center from 8 to 11 on ESPN News.
All right, Reese, thanks. Georgia Tech's bowl woes continue. It's been about 6 or 7 years in a row that they've gone to bowl games and come home unhappy. So far, Virginia's got the lead here at the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Quad Bray from the 3-yard line, and he is tracked down beautifully by Ray Keys on the special teams. That's the second time he's made a stop tonight. So now Auburn, really, they have not done anything offensively tonight. Remember, their one touchdown drive was after the block punt. So let's see what Kyle Frazier.
Well, again, you've got two guys now in Barrett Trotter, who is more of the thrower and the ball distributor, and Kyle Frazier, who can throw but has not thrown much or very successfully this season. He's more the quarterback run guy. So far, neither combination has worked too well.
At the 15. Flags down. Might be a free play here. McCaleb on Taylor. McCaleb finds a little bit of opening now. He's got great speed. McCaleb with his quarterback in front of him. Down the sideline and out of bounds. And if, in fact, Virginia was offside, this is a huge play for the Auburn offense.
You know, it almost felt like some of the Virginia defenders kind of stopped playing.
Offside. Defense number 90. Penalties decline. First down.
60-yard run by Ontario McCaleb.
Jake Snyder jumped off sides. Number 90, the defensive end, on the side the play was going to. Watch Snyder come off sides, and now let's see if the Virginia guys just kind of slow down and don't finish the play. But McCaleb alertly crosses field and uses that speed out in the open field to make a big play.
Longest run of the year for the Auburn offense. And now Kyle Frazier is in at quarterback. McCaleb will join him after that long journey down to the 25-yard line. And it's Frazier on the keeper, and he lost 2. Henry Coley, the middle linebacker, made the stop. This is what Todd did back in his day. Lead the way, the quarterback. Getting the block. A little bit of a shoulder nudge, and then finally went to the turf. And Trotter comes back in. Frazier goes out as the musical chairs happening here at quarterback. If you just joined us, Clint Mosley was hurt in the first quarter.
Two guys you want to get the ball to here. Lutzenkirchen, number 43, who's right here, and Emory Blake, who's up here. Those are your two playmaker guys in the passing game.
Trey Mason, the freshman, is in the Auburn backfield with Trotter. Play fake to him, the slip screen out to Blake with blockers. Blake, and he's down, first and goal at the 5.
Football is not that complex. It's about finding your guys, getting the football in the hands of guys that can make plays for you, especially if you're struggling a little bit on offense. McCaleb did it on the run, and now Blake does it on the short catch. Nice job by the lineman A.J. Green getting out in front, number 77, and then Blake does the rest.
And now Frazier back in at quarterback. First and goal, Auburn at the Virginia 5. Rides it to McCaleb, keeps it himself. May have gotten face mask, but no flags down, as he only got a yard. Talafero and Reynolds, the two outside linebackers, made the stop.
I think if they would give Kyle Frazier a play-action pass here on second down, they'd find somebody wide open, probably Lutzenkirchen.
Not going to give him a chance. No. He's coming out again. So a whole new group comes in for Auburn, including Barrett Trotter back in at quarterback. And they got a little sugar huddle going on here, Todd, about a yard away from the ball.
And they snap it quick when they do this.
Play action. Trotter lofts it and broken. False. Couldn't handle it. I was going to say broken up. He broke it up himself. That should have been a touchdown.
Yep. They break that huddle quick. They snap it quick. The ball's thrown well enough to be caught. It's a little bit high, but a very catchable pass. And Foltz not able to bring it in.
Had a flag down at the end of that play.
Illegal formation, offense, 5 players in the backfield at the snap. 5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
Well, they put the huddle up there, and then they put too many guys in the backfield, or had too many in the backfield.
Well, that's the problem with going with that quick huddle. They don't have enough guys up on the line of scrimmage.
And then the play that would have worked beautifully, and he caught the ball, but Foltz didn't.
Correction. The penalty is declined. Third down.
So 3rd down and goal. Gus Malzahn telling the troops on the sideline before he sends them all in what the play is.
Philip Lutzenkirchen, 7 touchdown catches on the season, 14 for his career.
They're going to show the same huddle. Now they split Blake and Stallworth out quickly, and they put Trotter in the shotgun. And the end around of McCaleb on a Statue of Liberty touchdown.
Nice.
Well designed and perfectly executed, and we're a point away from a tie game again. Cody Parkey for the point after. Tie game with 10:33 remaining in the half. Ontario McCaleb did most of the damage in that drive. A 60-yard rush. And then the Statue of Liberty end around, and he's got blockers in front, and he's got the end zone. 14-14.
ESPN College Football, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And the Lexus December to Remember sales event for a limited time at your Lexus dealer.
Both teams had a lot of fun this week, shooting some hoops, making milkshakes. Everybody talked about the go-karts, both teams, and the visit to the Children's Hospital here in town. Great time. Chick-fil-A folks always have everything set up for these teams.
I thought it was interesting too. Some of the offensive guys on the go-kart talked about winning and going fast.
Right.
The defensive guys talked about crashing.
Yeah, crash. As Corey Lemonier said, I had so much fun I was crashing everybody. I said they usually kick you out for that, but it is bowl week. McCaleb caps an 85-yard drive with a 3-yard touchdown run and a beautifully designed play that we'll show you again here in a second. Right now, Cody Parkey's got it teed up. Set to kick away at 10:33, and it's an onside kick. And Auburn's got it. How about that? The kicker doing his thing.
2 huge special teams plays for Auburn here in the first half. The block punt, and now Cody Parkey with the onside kick. You try this when you expect that front wall to just turn and run. They go and block. Beautifully executed. Parkey allows it to go 10 yards and then covers it up.
That was beautiful. He just waited on it, like Todd said. Had to go 10 yards, and he's waiting, and it probably feels like an eternity right about there. And just snatched it in inside the 41-yard line. So now Auburn with the last touchdown to even things up, and they've got an opportunity on offense here. And now fumble, Frazier picks it up, and he gets horse-collared at the 45-yard line. Leroy Reynolds brought him down. Now let's see if Trotter comes back out, and he will. Again, Clint Mosley, the starting quarterback, hurt in the first quarter, and it's been a rotating situation now between Kyle Frazier, the freshman, and Barrett Trotter, the junior out of Birmingham. 2nd down and 6. They fake the end around. Trotter loads and fires deep. Got a man out there, and it's Blake to the 5. That might be the best throw of Barrett Trotter's year.
Auburn hardly ever goes under center. They went under center, play action, and a beautiful throw in rhythm to Emory Blake.
1st and goal, Auburn. Inside handoff to Mason. He got a yard. That's it. Boy, some big plays. An onside kick. McCaleb with the ball leaving his hand inside the 1-yard line. And Todd, this is where Michael Dyer would come in handy.
Yep.
Down at the 1-foot line. Here's another look at that play. It was the ruling on the field was upheld. So it's 3rd and goal. And Kyle Frazier at quarterback.
So your power runner now is your quarterback. No other back in the backfield.
They fake it to Mason, and Frazier leaps into the end zone. Touchdown, Auburn. Your quarterback becomes your power back, as Todd said. And he had no problem, even after taking the snap of the shotgun, to find the end zone.
I'll tell you what, you got to be, if you're an Auburn fan, you got to be happy for Barrett Trotter, too. You've gone through a tough year. Your team's gone through a tough year. And when they need you, you step up and you make some big-time plays.
Cody Parkey, who started all this with the onside kick, finishes it with a perfect extra point kick. 8:44 remaining in the half. Parkey, his teammates know it too. He started things off and he ended it 21-14. It's going to be a good game coming up Monday. Top 5 duel. Andrew Luck against Justin Blackman in Oklahoma State. Tostitos Fiesta Bowl on ESPN, ESPN Radio, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. Monday, January 2nd. That'll be a dandy, 8:30 Eastern time.
I don't think either defensive coordinator will sleep too well the night before that game.
I don't think so.
You know, I mentioned Barrett Trotter. I was at Auburn's practice 2 days ago, and I was just looking at him, and when they were running through offense, he wasn't getting a whole lot of reps with the first team, and he was holding the signs. You know, that was what he was relegated to, because the guys who were running the plays were Mosley and Frazier, and he was holding the signs. And he wasn't smiling as much as he is right now. I mean, but that's great to see, because when you're in that role, you have to stay sharp and you have to stay ready, because you never know when your number gets called again.
And don't you agree with me that that's the best pass he's thrown all year?
Beautiful.
That was perfect.
On time, on rhythm, on the money.
So Parkey, I'm assuming, is going to kick away. Well, they fake one. They bring up the whole bunch, and now they backpedal. Gene Chizik likes to play around with special teams a little bit, too. Not only being the head coach, and in this case, the defensive coordinator. And now they kick away. And it's a deep one again. And they'll have to take a knee. Shepard. And Virginia will start at the 20-yard line. We're talking about Gene Chizik wearing a lot of different hats. He wore the birthday boy hat the other day.
On three. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Happy 50th, huh?
Yep.
That's a big one. Spent the entire week in Atlanta. He was telling us, even though I knew when I was going to be the defensive coordinator after Ted Roof left, being the head coach and defensive coordinator and all the functions going on at the Chick-fil-A Bowl was a little taxing. Rocco on a throw, complete to Jones, and he's going to have a first down.
Well, guys, I wish I had a pedometer on Gene Chizik. He might have turned 50, but he is running everywhere down on the sideline. He sprinted up to the front to call that onside kick. He's heavily involved in the special teams. Then he sprinted back and was talking to the defense. Then he sees the offense is in the red zone. He sees that there's a controversial play. He sprints up in position to call a timeout in case they don't review it. Guys, he is getting a workout over here.
Yep, good shape for 50, huh? Here's a long stretch handoff. Clifton Richardson, the biggest of the Virginia backs, is all the way out near midfield.
Well, we knew we'd see Richardson some tonight. They wanted to use him because of his size and his physical style. A little bit different than the other two backs in Parks and Jones. And he does a nice job of not messing around. Once he breaks it outside, watch how quickly he gets back going north and south. And uses that size.
They mark it at the 48-yard line. He gets a breather, and Perry Jones comes back in. 3 wide receivers set for Michael Rocco here as we're down to 7:45 remaining in the half. Play action. Rocco all day. Throws, completes down to the 35 and a first down. Darius Jennings.
The balance is still there for Virginia. They're running the ball with enough success to set up play action. It's quick throws when they drop back, get it out of the quarterback's hands quickly, and they go for chunk plays off of play action. Good protection with play action. You hold linebackers, and then you throw into open spots.
Jennings, Maryland High School Player of the Year last season, and having a good freshman campaign for the Cavaliers. Back-to-back plays of 17 yards. This one only a couple for Perry Jones. Next bowl coming up Houston Cougars against Todd's Nittany Lions of Penn State. And the Nits defense will have their hands full in that one.
Yeah, they better be ready to play. Case Keenum, outstanding season. Top quarterbacks in college football.
Kevin Parks checks back in that rotating backfield. Parks and Jones pretty much the same size behind Rocco at quarterback on 2nd down and 9. And
timeout, Auburn. That is their first timeout of the half.
6:40 remaining in the half. Auburn, courtesy of an onside kick and a touchdown, leading by 7. Back in a sold-out Georgia Dome, 21-14, 6:40 remaining in the half. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, and Holly Rowe, and our ESPN crew with you on New Year's Eve. Good football game so far.
Rocco changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Auburn showing a pressure defense.
They'll keep it on the ground, and they will be grounded. Loss of a yard on the play. It's going to bring up 3rd down and long again.
It's a good timeout for Gene Chizik. Virginia showed that 2 tight end balance formation. Gene Chizik called timeout to talk it over, and Virginia came out and gave the same formation, and they were ready for it and stopped that 2nd down play for nothing.
So Bill Lazor and Mike London looking on to see if their team can pick up another big 3rd down conversion. Empty backfield on 3rd and 9. Rocco throws out in the flat, and Jones stop and go. Still going. Nice run and catch and 1st down.
Well, again, he is such an effective weapon out of the backfield. I mean, he's not a pure runner like some running backs, but he is a dangerous receiver. He's in the slot. He comes underneath. Nico Thorpe's trying to cover him from way inside. That's a difficult ask for even a guy as talented as Thorpe. Couldn't get to him. Rocco got the ball to Jones, and it's an easy 1st down.
Some nice brake pads on him, too, there. In the red zone, Cavaliers trying to even things up here before halftime at the 19. And it's the big back again, and Richardson banging his way, still not down. They'll give him probably 3 on his forward progress, I think. Richardson, a freshman out of Newport News, Virginia, which is a hotbed for great football players. But he, as Todd said, is the bigger guy, 6-footer, about 215 pounds.
Yeah, he's not ready to play as much as Jones or Parks, primarily because of pass protection responsibilities. I mean, he's a little bit behind in that because of his age as a freshman, but in terms of being a physical runner, definitely somebody they want to work into the action.
Parks back in there now at the tailback spot. On 2nd down and 6, just outside the 15. Rocco all day to throw, and now throws it away wisely, I think. He had Bird. Now we got a little skirmish going on after the play. Kenneth Carter and Abouche, the tackle, get tangled up a little bit. It brings up 3rd down and 6. 6 out of 8 on the 3rd down conversions tonight. So it's for Virginia. We got you right where we want you. If they can continue to convert those 3rd downs, they can get a 1st inside the 9.
Again, Virginia likes to use these tight formations.
Rocco to the end zone, broken up. Perry Jones, the intended receiver, and Freeman and Thorpe are back there defensively.
I think if he has a little bit more on this ball, Jones might be able to catch it before the other guy comes over the top. It was a little bit underthrown, and you saw that Jones had to kind of wait for it, and that enabled Thorpe to get there.
And again, instinctively, much like the play earlier in the game, Freeman at the last second got a hand in there. And it's a fake. Hodges is going to be dragged down by Chris Davis. The Auburn defense presents itself and prevents any further scoring by the Cavaliers.
Well, no question the special teams edge has gone to Auburn in the first half of this game. The 3rd big play in special teams by the Auburn team. Excellent play in the open field by Davis, stopping him short.
Well, guys, Jacob Hodges, number 27, the holder, was a team manager last year. He played high school football. It's been a dream of his to play for Virginia. And the guys said, hey, he's an athlete. Let's see if he can walk on. He did. And now he's the holder. That's some real faith in Mike London to have him run that when he was a team manager just a year ago.
Holly, you told us that play was coming this morning at our meeting. And now Trotter is trotting the wrong way. And he got rid of it. And waiting to see if there's a flag or not.
Well, Trey Mason was kind of in the area. Barrett Trotter had not left the tackle box. I do think the ball crossed the line of scrimmage, and Trey Mason was kind of there.
Kind of there.
Kind of. They were trying to set up a screen, and quick pressure by Conrad forced Trotter to throw it away.
Bray, the motion man, as Trotter will come back to the throw to McCaleb this time. And McCaleb's got blockers, and he's got great speed. And out of bounds at the 40. Wow, he's made some huge plays in this first half. 28 yards that time.
You know, sometimes with a guy like McCaleb, you just get him the ball out in space and see if he can make a play for you. There's some defenders out here for Virginia, but they can't get him on the ground. And that's just McCaleb being an instinctive football player out in the open field.
And Ontario coming into this game said, I want to show that I can be an every down back. They fake the end around Trotter, and now he'll keep it. And he got 5 or 6 out of it before Coley put him down. They're pulling out everything here in the first half.
Well, Gus Malzahn, we mentioned, is on his way to Arkansas State to be the head coach there, back in his home state. We wondered, would they be distracted offensively? Would he be distracted? I don't think so.
Nope.
I think he's called a great game so far. He's had to use all 3 of his quarterbacks.
We asked him, when are you heading to Arkansas State? He sort of looked at his watch as if to say, about 2 hours after this game's over, probably. Now they do come with an end around to McCaleb. And lucky he didn't get a face mask call there. He's looking for one. As Reynolds, again, had his hand up in that general vicinity, but no penalty.
Gus has had to balance both jobs. He's worked on Auburn stuff in the mornings and the afternoons, and when all that is done each day, then he's worked on Arkansas State stuff at night, trying to hire a staff, recruit, putting in some long hours.
And now Frazier, they're going to let him throw for the first time. Maybe. No. Yes, maybe. Frazier finally will tuck it and go out of bounds with a decent gain on the run. And his head coach is there to say, "Had a way to buy yourself some time." That seemed like 30 seconds he was back there.
Well, because he doesn't throw as much, you give him a call like that with the idea that somebody might run free, because that defense is so locked into him running the football. Pretty good discipline by the Virginia defense that time not to give up a big play on the pass for Kyle Frazier.
I said it seemed like a half minute. The gang in the truck tells us 13 seconds it took to pick up 7 yards. Second down at 3 for Frazier. And he'll keep it himself on the zone read and get a first down. Put down by Brent Urban, but not before he moves the sticks again.
Virginia trying to substitute guys on their defensive front. They got a little fatigue working here at the end of the first half. Trying to keep some fresh bodies in there. Again, they're down a couple guys, key guys. Steve Greer, middle linebacker, not playing. Chase Minifield, their top cornerback, not playing.
Auburn had one too many guys out there. Quindarius Carr ran off the field, but it's going to be
substitution. Offense number 9, 5-yard penalty, first down.
There's Chase Minifield, who had a great campaign again this year, all ACC performer.
Boy, his dad was a great player.
That's for sure.
Cornerback, he and Hanford Dixon played for the Cleveland Browns.
There were a couple of shutdown guys, weren't they?
Oh boy, they were good.
You saw Quindarius Carr trying to get off the field as Auburn had too many guys. They call the illegal substitution, and the penalty makes it 1st and 15 back at the 41. Lutsen Kirkin in motion now, sets up in the slot. And another end around reverse. Quan Bray this time. Quan Bray. And if that's not a face mask, although he gets all the way down to the 20, we may never get a face mask call tonight. So Quan Bray, we knew we'd see him.
Yeah.
a lot tonight. There was even talk about maybe playing a little bit of tailback. In this case, they just get it in his hands any way they can on the toss from McCaleb.
Well, I think that Gus Malzahn is sensing the same thing that I sense, and that is a little fatigue in this Virginia defense. Make them run. Misdirection, reverses, make this team in orange run.
And now Trotter, play action. Looking, sideline throw to Lutzenkirchen, and he couldn't hold it.
Wow.
That would have been a touchdown had he been a little bit farther out in front of him.
I think he fooled Lutzenkirchen, because it looked to me like Barrett Trotter at first looked like he was going to run, then it looked like he was going to throw to the shorter receiver, and I don't even think he looked at Lutzenkirchen when he threw to him. That was a pretty instinctive throw by Trotter that could have been a touchdown.
Barrett stays in there at quarterback with just over a minute remaining in the half, trying to add to the Tigers' 7-point lead. Now the clock winding down, and now Quan Bray trots out.
They're going to have to call timeout.
Trevon Reed trots back in, and Gene Chizik saying, wait a minute.
Timeout.
They had wide receivers all over the place except where they needed them. With a timeout at 1:07, we've got time to check in with Reese Davis. Reese?
Brad, we are not far away from the H&R Block halftime report. It's been a busy New Year's Eve, a bittersweet victory for Texas A&M. We'll show you how they came through against Northwestern. A bowl frenzy throughout the day. Mark and Lou will be here to dissect all of the highlights. And we'll also show you the Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year. Happy New Year, guys. We'll see you coming up at halftime in just a few moments.
Sounds good, Reese. Happy New Year to you, Mark, Lou, the gang, back in the studios. 1:07 remaining here as Auburn had to take their second timeout with some confusion on who was supposed to be in at wide receiver. They had guys going off the field, guys trying to get on the field before the snap. And they don't want to waste an opportunity like this one. They're down at the 25-yard line. And they can, as Lutzenkirchen still shaking his head about that pass that could have been maybe a touchdown. And now Trotter in the gun on 2nd down and 10 at the 25. Virginia's going to blitz. Trotter on a throwback to McCaleb to the corner, and bye-bye Ontario. That's one of the better timeouts called you've ever seen. 25-yard touchdown. McCaleb doing it again. As I said, he wanted to let everybody know he can do everything, and he is doing everything in this first half.
Well, beautiful job by Brandon Mosley, number 75. The right tackle slipping out, getting the key block. McCaleb kind of slipped in like he was going to pass protect, and then released out. Beautiful execution.
Extra point by Park. He's good. So now Auburn, they haven't showed this much offense in a long time, and they've got 28 on the board, and they've done a little bit of everything tonight. Just under a minute to go, and they lead 28-14. Well, latest chapter of one of college football's great traditions. 2 high-octane conference champions meeting in Pasadena. Russell Wilson, Monty Ball, and the Badgers looking out. Run Michael James and the Ducks. The granddaddy of the ball, the Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio. Monday, the 2nd on ESPN, ESPN Radio, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. If you miss that game, you're not trying. Coverage starts 4:30 Eastern time on Monday. What a first half by Ontario McCaleb. And Barrett Trotter is saying, you know what? This is what I wanted to do all year long. And I'm getting a chance in the bowl game.
And again, that's what you expect a backup quarterback, a leader of your team to do. When he had to sit down, he didn't pout. He didn't give up. He didn't quit on his team. And he stayed ready. And when his number was called tonight, this is as good as Barrett Trotter has looked.
He didn't cry, didn't pout, and Santa came a few days late.
Think he'll take it, though.
I think so. Parkey to kick. Great at drilling it deep and preventing runbacks, but this one will be carried out from a yard deep. Darius Jennings. And Jennings, nice return out to the 30-yard line. As we take a look at our H&R Block never settle play.
Well, this is one of the earlier touchdowns. We've talked about the execution. Emery Blake is going to get a block in the linebacker. Philip Lutzenkirchen is going to bypass the defensive end and go outside and get a piece of the linebacker on the Statue of Liberty play. We have seen beautiful execution from this Auburn offense so far in the first half.
And if you look into that play even farther, and you can look at it all day long because it was perfectly executed. Even on top of that, Quindarius Carr was wide out to the side, and he put his hands up as if the ball was coming to him on the fake by Trotter. So now Virginia doesn't have a lot of time to work with here. Rocco throws on a crossing route. Jones trying to get to the sideline. And they're going to hurry up as Coach London saying, come on, guys, let's go. 43, 42, 41. Trailing by 2 touchdowns. They'd love to get anything offensively here before halftime. They take a field goal if that's all. Here's a throwback screen to Jones, and he's got some big boys in front. Jones down the sideline and out of bounds at the 41. Very well executed there. And a pickup of 25.
Well, now they can huddle. You know, that first play, Jones got tackled inbounds, and they had to hurry up as the clock was mowed. Now they can at least get in the huddle.
Their final timeout of the half.
So Auburn's going to take their final timeout of the half, as the last couple times they've taken timeouts, they've been well used, if you understand my meaning. Meaning one was a touchdown right after they called a timeout. And also Gene Chizik changed up his defense earlier in this quarter when Virginia had something rolling. So he's doing very much the same thing here. But this is an Auburn team that certainly doesn't look like they would lose 5 games, but they lost 5 games to pretty good teams this year.
Well, yeah, outstanding teams. I mean, all top 15 teams, all teams that are big and physical and had probably a little better players, you know, across the board than Auburn had. But here's the bottom line. Auburn is still the defending champion.
Right.
They still got a lot of pride.
They still play in the SEC.
They're still in the SEC, you know, and so that's why they're a handful for Virginia tonight. And right now, Gus Malzahn and that offense, they're just calling the right kind of game. They're getting McCaleb out in space. And Emory Blake's made his presence felt as well.
First down for the Cavaliers with 26 seconds and 2 timeouts to work with. Rocco deep out. It's got a man out there. Dominic Terrell.
The clock will stop until they reset the change, so they don't have to use a timeout here if they don't want to. Terrell is one of 2 young receivers that were both high school quarterbacks, Darius Jennings and Dominique Terrell. And this extra bowl practice has benefited both of them.
They fake the spike and they go to the end zone. And it's caught, but out of bounds. Shades of Dan Marino as Rocco faked the spike, and he laid it out there pretty good for Jennings.
Yeah, well, BYU did it yesterday in their bowl game also for a game-winning touchdown. Faked the spike, try to get it to Jennings, the other former high school quarterback.
So second down. 12 seconds. Now you've got to think about either using one of the timeouts or go to the end zone.
Well, you still got the 2 timeouts. You hate to take them to the locker room with you. Utilize them if you can. Quick
they empty the backfield. So Rocco with blitz coming. Steps up. He's going to try to run if he can get a blocker in front. Now they need the timeout in a hurry. With 5 seconds, they get it.
Timeout, Virginia. That is their second timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
I'm not so sure Rocco should have waited for his blocker because he got caught from behind. He maybe should have just taken off with that thing.
Well, now Mike London's got an interesting decision. With 5 seconds, you may not have time for 2 plays. Sitting here at the 7-yard line, do you kick a field goal and get points and have a little positive momentum going into the locker room, knowing that Auburn's going to get the ball to start the 3rd quarter? Or do you take one more shot at the touchdown? He's going to go for points.
Yep. Well, we said anything they could get out of this late drive would be something to take to the locker room. They're going to try to take a field goal. 24-yard attempts.
Bet they don't fake this one.
And it's up and good. With no time. That's going to be the last play of the half. Good way to end it for the Cavaliers. Field goal draws them closer. But Auburn, with almost a home game, they're only about 100 miles away from the Plains here in Atlanta, and they love the Georgia Dome. They've been here a lot. And the first half, they have a lead again here in the Chick-fil-A Bowl at halftime as we get out of Holland.
Well, Coach, what made you feel it was the right time and moment for that onside kick?
Well, we just planned it. You know, we said after we score either first or second touchdown, we're going to go with it. We've worked it all year. It's worked for us. It's never not worked. So we went ahead and went with it, and it worked again.
How do you evaluate your defensive coordinator's performance?
Right now, not very good. Too many big plays. We'll get some things straightened out hopefully at halftime here and play a lot better second half hopefully.
What's a big thing you need to fix, Coach?
It's just the big plays right now. A couple big pass plays at the end. We are making some plays when our back's against the wall, and that's been a good thing. Stop the fake field goal. So there are some good things. We got to get some things fixed. This is a tough offense to defend.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
That's Holly's best question of the year. What do you think of your defensive coordinator? He is the defensive coordinator, and he's the head coach that's got his team in front. 28-7 at halftime as we send it to Reese, Mark, and Lou in the studio for the H&R Block. 28-17 as we're just about set to start the third quarter, and the National Events High School Band concluding its tribute to America down in the field here at the Chick-fil-A Bowl. The 44th Chick-fil-A Bowl. The ACC-SEC matchup here in Atlanta on this New Year's Eve as we take a look at our American Airlines first half statistics. Auburn had 37 yards in the first quarter. They had 237 in the second quarter, and thus the lead 28-17. The Tigers out in front. As we welcome you back to Atlanta, everybody, in the Georgia Dome. Brad Nessler with Todd Blackledge. You know, partner, the first thing I think of when I think of bowl game is there going to be rust, and are we going to see teams wanting to win? These two are pulling out all the stops, and they don't look rusty.
No, they don't. Both offenses have looked outstanding in the first half, and really the only edge that Auburn has had clearly in the game has been on special teams, and it's been mistakes. The block punt that Auburn got early, beautiful job by the wide receiver coming off the edge, perfect angle. That set up a touchdown for Auburn. Then right after their second touchdown, they convert the onside kick. That led to the go-ahead touchdown at 21-14. And then when Virginia went for a little trick play on the special teams, they got stopped. That took 3 points off the board. So clear edge in the special teams the first half for Auburn, the difference in the ball game.
And Auburn will get the football first to start the second half. That number 23 right there is about halfway to being the player of the game, the way he performed in the first half, both on the ground and as a pass receiver.
149 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He'll handle, won't handle this one as it goes over his head, and Auburn will work from the 20. We check in with Holly.
Well, guys, I had an opportunity to catch up with Virginia coach Mike London, and he said, you know, we thought this was going to be a game of field position, and it has been. He said they've had it 6 times. We've had it 5 because of that punt block. But he said in the areas that matter, he's pleased with his team. Total yardage, third down, time of possession. Those are areas that they're winning. He said they've got to quit making mistakes. They're hurting themselves right now. He also said the tempo of Auburn has been a factor. They've got to do a better job on their perimeter defense, set the edge, and not let this Wildcat quarterback stuff hurt them so much on the sides.
That Wildcat quarterback's in there right now. Kyle Frazier, the freshman, in an empty backfield, although McCallum will join him now. First play, third quarter, and it's Frazier on the keeper. And he goes for 6 on the first snap for the Auburn offense.
You know, it's interesting that Holly said that Mike London talked about the tempo of the Auburn offense. I asked Mike London before the game, did you play anybody this year that tried to play tempo the way this team might? And he said, well, yeah, Indiana did that, but that was back in September. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And Auburn really changes their tempo, and especially when they're having some success, they'll even go faster when they feel like they've got you.
And a little mistake, I think, in the backfield there, but Frazier's going to make something out of it anyway. And he bulls his way out to the 39-yard line. Looked like his tailback went the wrong way, but maybe that was the way the play was designed. I'm not sure. Trotter coming back out.
Well, see if he continues to have a hot hand in that first half. He was outstanding. 6 of 10, 130 yards. Good decisions.
A long 50-yarder that got him down to 1st and goal where they scored. Lutzenkirchen in motion. And Mason blasts off the left side, and he's out to midfield. Another first down, Auburn. And here's Auburn without a huddle, right at midfield.
You know, I know they've had a lot of time to prepare between the end of the regular season, the game against Alabama, and the suspension of Michael Dyer on December 11th until now, but it's still impressive how they've been able to overcome the absence of their best offensive player.
Trotter breaks a tackle in the backfield, and he's going to lose a yard, but it could have been a lot worse. Trotter not the runner, obviously, of Frazier, and nobody can be the runner the guy was last year, Cam Newton. Cam's doing okay in the pros, too, isn't he?
Not too shabby. Yeah, not too shabby.
This time last year, we were talking about Auburn playing for the national championship, and Cam Newton, a Heisman Trophy winner. And he's done all right in his rookie campaign in Carolina. Here's a throwback screen to Emory Blake. Blake made the first guy miss, and the second, and the third, spinning his way all the way to the 32-yard line. And that shows you the dimension that number 80 adds that they haven't had much of the year.
Virginia chose to come with some pressure that time, and Henry Coley, number 44, was the first guy out to Blake, and he just got left flat-footed. Blake made him miss and then got upfield for big yardage.
And a first down at the 32, so an impressive opening third quarter drive so far for Auburn. McCaleb trying to get to the corner, and a stiff arm, and he's going to be dragged down by Dom Joseph, the cornerback on that side.
Dom Joseph is the guy playing in place of Chase Minifield, a fifth-year senior. This is kind of not complained about a lack of playing time, has played nickelback when Minifield was healthy, but he's called on to be the regular corner right now in this ball game.
Funny thing, we thought it would be a Minifield-Blake matchup. Two guys that are both sons of former NFL stars. On the pitch, Mason might have a first down. And it looks like he will at the 22-yard line.
We talked about how Auburn changes the pace on you. The little quick huddle, the quick huddle close to the line of scrimmage and snap the ball quick out of that huddle has caused some problems for Virginia.
This is about the best you could ask for if you're an Auburn fan to open up the third quarter. 58 yards. This is the 8th play of the drive. Quan Bray in the backfield. And he might want to throw a pass here, and will. Lost it to the corner, but he ran out of real estate intended for Trevante Stallworth.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there's Arkansas State football players watching this game tonight, offensive guys, they got to be pretty excited at what they're seeing out of Gus Malzahn's offense, because we have seen a little bit of everything. They had it. They had their man. Rodney McLeod, the safety, was beaten on the play. It was too far to the sideline.
Straight ahead this time, and busting out the backside is Mason. Touchdown. Trey Mason, 22-yard touchdown burst. And I mean burst because it looked like they had him stopped. And he popped out the back end.
Well, the left guard, Chad Slade, got the key block. He pulled around and led Mason through the hole. And Mason just did the rest after a broken tackle.
Cody Parkey's extra point is perfect. And Auburn stretching their lead to 35-17. After a 21-point second quarter, their best of the year, they start off the third quarter in fine fashion as well. Everybody getting in the act for the Tigers, including Mason, the freshman. 35-17 Tigers. In addition to the combined $6.7 million in payouts to the teams tonight, Chick-fil-A and the Chick-fil-A Bowl also donating $100,000 to an endowment fund for each school. That brings the total scholarship contributions over the past 7 years to $7 million. Chairman Darrell Evans, President, CEO Gary Stokan. The Chick-fil-A Bowl, Chick-fil-A's Chief Marketing Officer Steve Robinson presented the checks to Virginia President Teresa Sullivan and Auburn University President Jay Goosh. We were with a lot of those folks last night at dinner. A great crew, family atmosphere. The Kathy family and all the folks with Chick-fil-A, and we thank them for their hospitality. And Happy New Year to everybody. It's a happy time for Auburn right now. 35-17, and Trey Mason just went 22 yards for the last touchdown to cap an 80-yard opening march in the third quarter. Can Virginia answer? Darius Jennings from a yard deep and only got to the 20, maybe the 21. And let's take you back to that last Auburn touchdown.
Well, redshirt freshman Chad Slade took over as the starting left guard when Jared Cooper was injured against Arkansas. And this, folks, is a pancake block. He takes Henry Coley, puts him right on his back. Trey Mason runs right behind it, and then untouched the rest of the way to the end zone. That's a big-time block by a big man.
A very big man. And Auburn, Trey Mason had 44 yards on that drive on 3 carries. And the Tigers have scored their last 4 possessions in 5 of their last 6. Virginia's got to get something going offensively. They'll try and end around to Jennings. They like his speed if they can get him on the corner, but Davis is going to shove him out of bounds right in front of the Auburn bench. Davis had a good football game tonight.
Yes, he has. Very solid. He's their best pure cover guy, but he has shown a physical aspect to his game tonight. Good open field tackles. He ripped the ball out of the receiver, Perry Jones, in the first half.
Yep.
Made the tackle on the fake field goal.
That's a big night. And we still got a long ways to go. Rocco, play action, flares it out in the flat, trying to keep his feet in bounds of fullback, and he's going to be about a yard shy of the first down. Well, in his first season as head coach, Brady Hoke has led Michigan to a BCS Bowl. Tuesday, January 3rd, Wolverines meet David Wilson and the Hokies of Virginia Tech in the All-State Sugar Bowl. All-State Sugar Bowl also on ESPN, ESPN Radio, ESPN3, and streaming live on Watch ESPN, Watch ESPN app. We'll be there. Hope you join us. Coverage starts 8 o'clock from New Orleans, where we head tomorrow when we're done here. Short yardage, a tough 2 yards for Parks, but he does pick up the first down. You see, Parks is short, as Todd said, but he's packed in there, almost 200 pounds. And you can see with the rest of his guys how it's easy to hide behind those big linemen.
Well, this is a big line, too. I mean, that right tackle, Morgan Moses, 6'6", 330 pounds.
Their guards are 6'7" and 6'6". Usually don't have guys that big playing guard. First down, Virginia's first drive of the third quarter. Parks again, cuts outside. Got the edge and got to the 40. Jonathan Mincy put the stop on, but a nice gain.
Luke Bowenko, one of those tall guards you mentioned, the right guard, number 70, was the guy out leading that play. They really think he's got a chance to be a big-time player and a real leader on this team. He's the only new starter this year. The other 4 guys were starters in 2010. He's a sophomore, filled in and had an outstanding season.
Past year, their left guard's the only guy they're going to lose off that front wall that's played every game together this year. They fake an end around. Rocco loads it and goes deep down the middle. Chris Bird, his big play performer, has got another one.
See, they run the ball, they run it at you, and then they go deep crossing routes off the play action, and that's where they get their big chunk plays. Bird has a great feel for the middle of the field. He knows where openings are. He knows where to settle down in between defenders and give his quarterback a big target. He's not the fastest receiver, but he's a physical guy at 6'2" and about 200 pounds.
So Virginia trying to answer Auburn's opening touchdown drive of the third quarter. They've worked it to the Tiger 39. Draw play, broken tackle by Jones, and he got 4 out of it.
Best thing that's happening right now with this drive, obviously Virginia wants to score some points, but it's allowing Jim Reed, the defensive coordinator, to rethink some things and to give that defense some rest and try to figure out a way to get some stops on this very hot Auburn offense.
There he is, working exactly what Todd was talking about. Jim's not very enthusiastic, is he? What a great meeting we had with him yesterday. At the 35, quick toss out and a good catch by Matt Snyder, Mr. Dependability, the senior and one of the captains who's been injured the latter portion of the season, but is back in there tonight, and that's his first catch.
Yeah, he broke his foot in practice after the Georgia Tech game, and this is his first game back. Still not maybe 100%, but a really well-liked guy on the team. In fact, they told the story that when he did come back to practice, the first catch that he made in practice, the team kind of stopped and gave him an ovation.
Yeah. This is a big third down for Virginia. Third in the yard. Auburn, everybody up close, and with that, Rocco's going to flare it out, complete down the sidelines. The fullback, Moline, and he's got a first down.
Tell you what, this offense, they do a nice job of getting their backs out of the backfield and beating underneath coverage. You know, they bunch everybody in and then they release backs out, and the coverage comes from inside out, and it's just too hard to catch up. El Toro Freeman is trying to get there, and he's just way behind the play. But the play fake holds the linebacker, and then they release the back out.
The guy, Chris Davis, who we said is having a sensational game defensively for Auburn, is down at the 10-yard line. And maybe a cramp. That's what it looks like, the way they're working his left hamstring area.
You know, it's interesting as we look at these two different styles of offense. You've got the spread offense of Auburn and the pro style of Virginia. Very different, both effective.
Both working well tonight.
ESPN College Football, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, is brought to you by Great Clips, it's gonna be great, and Phillips Colon Health Probiotics.
Raining cows earlier with the umbrellas before the kickoff, and we had our camera on one of those here in the Chick-fil-A Bowl, the 44th annual in Atlanta. 7:06 remaining third quarter, and Virginia on the drive trying to close the gap on the Tigers, who lead 35-17. Rocco fires complete, and down to the 1-yard line. It's going to be first and goal to Ray Keys.
You know, Chris Davis had to come out of the game with the cramp. They brought there is he in, and they went right at him. They went with Keys, who's a big receiver, and went right at the replacement corner and got the ball inside the 1-yard line.
Smart job by the Virginia coaching staff. Davis, after one play out with a cramp, back in there now, but it's first and goal. And
I think they got 12 guys on the field, Auburn.
Had that a couple of times tonight.
Auburn.
Oh, they had to call timeout.
That is their first time out of the half.
6:25 remaining third quarter.
This will be a full timeout.
Hi, I'm Captain Dina Porter at Bob Menderlam, Afghanistan. I just want to wish all my family in Auburn, Alabama a happy holidays and War Eagle.
All right, Captain Porter. Your defense and your military teammates seeing if Auburn can come up with a goal line stand. But it's first and goal. The Cavaliers have got 3 tight ends and a 4th one as fullback at the 1-yard line. Parks trying to back in, does. Touchdown.
Great second effort by Parks. Spinning, churning, finding the goal line.
So both teams with very impressive third quarter drives here.
And big offensive line, big tight ends. There's another pancake block. We saw one from Auburn. There's a pancake block from Virginia. That's good serve.
Extra point is good, capping a 79-yard drive, very similar to the 80-yarder that Auburn had. And we've chewed up a good chunk of the third quarter with 2 impressive touchdown drives.
Limits inspire the limitless. Levi LaValle, redefining redemption. Robbie Madison, flying 400 feet. Red Bull, new year, no limits.
Well, Joe Tessitore will be there to see how that all goes when we're done playing football in Atlanta. And there's been some good football played tonight. 35-24.
I think Joe Tess has got to win the hardest working man at ESPN in show business this week. Did the Champ Sports Bowl with Holly Rowe and Rod Gilmore, and he jetted out to San Diego for that thing, and he's going back for the Capital One Bowl. Is that tomorrow?
Attaboy,
no,
Joe.
the second.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the Virginia fans have a lot to cheer about after that drive has made it an 11-point game. So in essence, they have it back to a two-score situation here with 6:20 remaining. Now Virginia showing a strange kickoff alignment, but they will kick away. Now Terry McCaleb, who's done everything tonight, will add kick returner to his resume, but he's put down at the 25-yard line. Ray Keys, who's had, I think, 3 tackles on special teams tonight.
Well, Auburn's offense has been pretty impressive tonight. Take a look at what they've done. Their last 6 drives, that's a whole lot of touchdowns. A lot more touchdowns than they were used to getting during the season. And again, I think it's a credit to this team that lost their best player, their most productive offensive player, and have rallied around. And then in this game, lost their starting quarterback and have continued to play with great confidence.
Kyle Frazier, the freshman quarterback, will keep this one. And a 2 or 3 yard gain. Jake Snyder made the tackle. Frazier, when we talked to Gus Malzahn yesterday talking about Frazier, he says once he gets spring practice under his belt, he's going to be something special. And I said to Gus, does that mean that in your opinion he is the undisputed starter starting next year for Auburn? And he said no question. Of course, that'll be Gene Chizik's decision, not Gus Malzahn. He'll be at Arkansas State. But nonetheless, they think a lot of number 10. Whoa, we got guys moving all over the place. Lutchenkirchen was moving. Reynolds was coming across the line.
Offside, unabated to the quarterback. Defense number 9, 5-yard penalty.
So Reynolds with a penalty.
You know, the other thing about that, Kyle Frazier, is he the quarterback of the future, is he not, is going to have a lot to do with who Gene Chizik hires as an offensive coordinator. Is the guy he hires going to be a spread offensive guy that runs the same kind of system as Gus Malzahn, or will he be a pro-style guy? Because Kyle Frazier may or may not be the answer depending on the offense.
And now Trotter doing his imitation of Frazier. The ball came out of the end, but it's covered by Stallworth. Holly.
Well, guys, a lot of people are speculating about the future of Michael Dyer with the program. The internet is full of all these rumors that he might transfer. But Gene Chizik told us that he wants to meet with Michael after this bowl game. I said, is he in big trouble or little trouble? And he said, just trouble. But he said he's eligible to begin school on January 9th if he chooses to. And when I spoke with their athletic director, Jay Jacobs, he could not confirm or deny whether he would be suspended for part of next season. But he did say if he wants to be a part of this Auburn football team, he can. He just needs to choose the right steps.
He had such a great regular season. It's too bad that he's not here. But this guy has done a remarkable job carrying a good majority of the load tonight out of the backfield for Auburn. The Auburn tailbacks have 140 rushing yards combined at 2 touchdowns and 53 yards receiving and a touchdown. So Mason, McCaleb, and even Quan Bray a couple of times carrying the ball has filled in for that void left by Dyer's absence.
I think this is a big, maybe the biggest defensive possession of the game for Virginia. They've got them 2nd and 10. They need to get a stop. I mean, their offense is holding up their end of the bargain. Their defense has to come through.
And it's Frazier. Takes it straight up the middle. Snyder again made the tackle, but we're down to 4 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. And Auburn continues to drive.
Have a lineman down right now. It looks like it might be A.J. Green, their starting left tackle.
Senior out of Madison, Tennessee. Face down on the turf here at the Georgia Dome. And A.J. trying to get to his feet.
Here he is right here. Left tackle.
They got a double team block and then went out and kind of got rolled up on by a group after throwing a second block in the linebacking area. Not built like the A.J. Green of the Bengals and former Georgia star here. A little bit different size. We saw Eric Mack come into the huddle. He'll take A.J.'s spot on the offensive line. Capital One Bowl week concluding Monday afternoon. Starting at noon Eastern, ESPNU's got the ticket. City Bowl for you. And the Outback Bowl, Michigan State and Georgia. Capital One, Nebraska, South Carolina, Ohio State, and Florida. And the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. That is one big day of football for you on our ESPN networks. 3rd down and 5. As Todd said, can Virginia get a stop? This would be the place they'd want to do it right now. Trotter. Bray in motion on 3rd down and 5. Play action. Pressure from behind. He zips it down the middle and right into Emory Blake's stomach, and he dropped it.
That was a good throw by Trotter. Virginia came with pressure. He stayed right in there, stepped up a little bit in the pocket, and made a nice throw to Emory Blake. Blake not able to hang on. Watch the pressure come, steps up a little bit away from it, and that would have been a 1st down for Auburn.
Instead, they do force a punt. They get the stop that they were looking for. Dominic Terrell waits on Stephen Clark's kick. And he's going to get out of the way.
Got to go catch that.
I don't know if he lost that completely. He headed in the exact opposite direction of where the ball was heading.
I mean, you catch that ball and it's on about the 12. You let it bounce. It's inside the 10.
Don't you think he lost that in the lights? He looked up and he just headed for the sideline. So as it is, they get the ball back. The bad news is it's at the 6-yard line. He's trying to explain it to his teammates, that's for sure. Meanwhile, the offense will huddle in its own end zone.
Again, the formula for Virginia has been be able to run the football and then chunk plays out of play action.
Here comes the run. And a tough yard for Perry Jones. Nico Thorpe and El Toro Freeman back there to make the tackle. We're down to the 3-minute mark here in the 3rd quarter.
Normally when they've gone play action, they either look for Chris Bird, their go-to receiver, or one of the backs coming out of the backfield. Either Perry Jones or the fullback. Million's been very effective as well.
2nd down and 8. A quick play action by Rocco and right back over the middle. Wanted to go to Jones, but it was thrown behind him. And Jonathan Evans was waiting on him had he caught it. So now it's 3rd down. 8 for 11 tonight. It's been a very good down, considering it wasn't good during the course of the year for the Cavaliers.
I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn and Gene Chizik come with some form of pressure here and see if they can force the sophomore quarterback into a mistake.
4 wideouts for Rocco. And the Auburn crowd trying to make it difficult for the Cavalier offense. Rocco, and there comes the pressure, and down he goes. Gabe Wright. You called it, partner.
Well, this was pressure, but it was only pressure with 4 men rushing. This was just 4 guys whipping 5, is all this one was. Auburn's defensive linemen just turned it up. And that front 5 that's played very well tonight for Virginia didn't get the job done.
And now Virginia has to punt, and Howell's got his back of his feet almost out of the end zone. And he had it blocked again out of the back of the end zone. Low Blackson, another freshman defensive lineman with a block punt.
When you're that close to the back line, you don't have time to do a rugby kick. I mean, that's got to be catch and kick. They tried to do a rugby kick, and he held it too long, and Blackman was there for the block.
Wow. So add a safety to the Auburn attack tonight.
And every time they've made a play in the special teams, it's led to points. 2 of them have led to touchdowns. 1 led to a safety, and 1 stopped fake field goal, denied Virginia 3 points.
I would bet you the percentage on winning a game if you have 1 block punt is probably 70%.
Yeah.
You get 2 block punts in a night, you're probably going to win a game.
There's a good chance.
241 career punts for Howell. 3 of them blocked out of the 241. 2 of those tonight. That's not the way you want your bowl season to go.
And Auburn gets the football right back.
Free kick coming up. Howell will do it. Nobody will block this one. Quan Bray and Ontario McCaleb will be back deep waiting on it. And it'll be Bray who will camp under this one at the 22. Reverses his field. Quan Bray's got some blockers. And now the punter won't get him. It's all the way down to the 10-yard line. "68-yard punt return." Free kick return, I should say.
It was a good kick. Probably too good, because Bray had a lot of room to maneuver, and then the speed to get outside the punter and outside the edge. And yet again, another special teams play that has gone in the favor of the team wearing blue tonight.
Actually 62 yards because they're spotted at the 15. And here's Auburn with another golden opportunity. Blitz coming. Trotter pump fakes. Goes to the corner to Lexenkirchen and overshot everybody. And this has been a game of big plays, trick plays. Not good special teams play by Virginia. But entertaining for sure. Entertaining except for Clint Mosley, the starting quarterback for Auburn, who went out with an injury in the first quarter. So since that time, it's been a combination of Barrett Trotter and Kyle Frazier. And in this case, Trotter with McCaleb on 2nd down and 10. Low snap, play action, Trotter backpedaling, and incomplete. Intended for McCaleb. Cam Johnson was the guy putting the pressure on. Auburn special teams tonight, they have been special. 2 block punts, onside kick that was recovered by the kicker. They stopped a fake field goal by Virginia, and then Quan Bray 62 yards a couple of minutes ago. That's a good night.
Yep. The last 3rd down, they went to Emory Blake and he dropped the ball. Let's see if they go back to him and see if he makes a play.
On 3rd down, Trotter's in trouble, got away. Keeps his eyes downfield, throws across his body and got it to Blake. But he's not going to get to the 1st down. And flags flying in everywhere. Somebody lost their helmet down by the goal line. I don't know if that's where the penalty was or not.
Corey Mosley, the safety, is the guy who lost his helmet. He was tangled up down by the goal line with D'Angelo
After the play
Benton.
was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 1, 15-yard penalty, 4th down.
That was it, Trevon Reed. And he's looking rather innocent on the sideline, but The personal foul changes the complexion of this whole drive, that's for sure. And it's 4th down, back at the 23-yard line. And so instead of what looked like maybe another touchdown after the long punt return, they're going to have to settle for a 40-yard field goal try by Cody Parkey. He missed from 44 earlier in the game. This one from 40. And now we got another flag down.
Offense.
Wow.
5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Auburn imploding here a little bit.
Well, this could
Just
be a
when we
real,
started bragging about their special teams.
This could be a real Houdini escape job for Virginia if they come away with no points.
There's no penalty for delayed game. Auburn called the timeout prior to the penalty.
So Auburn called the timeout, but that means they're going to be down to 1 with just over a quarter to go.
That is Auburn's 2nd timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
And with that, we got time to check in with Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Brad, and looking ahead to the Capital One Bowl game in Orlando on the 2nd of January, 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. It'll be Nebraska and South Carolina. Big Ten against the SEC. Nebraska never lost against the Gamecocks, while the head ball coach, and remember it is head ball coach, not old ball coach, trying to lead South Carolina to its first ever 11-win season. That'll be the day after New Year's, 1 Eastern on ESPN.
Well, with a couple of huge penalties, it's made things tougher for Cody Parkey. This would be a 40-yarder here after missing from 44 earlier. And now we got flags down again.
False start. Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Well, now Parkey would have to hit his longest field goal of the year if they get the snap clean and don't have another penalty.
And remember, Matt Conrath, number 94, is right in the middle there. He's got a real low stance. He's blocked 3 kicks this year.
Parkey from 45, bad snap. They got the hold down though, and he drilled it.
Sure did.
Wow. Ryan White did a great job with a bad snap. Parkey with his longest field goal of the year. That is a great job by your holder in a hurry. And Conrad got that left hand up there, but not high enough. Could have been worse for Virginia, though, I think. Yep. After the safety and the long free kick return by Bray, Auburn looked like it was heading in the end zone again. As it is, they settle for a field goal. We talked about both in orange and blue tonight, and one quite a bit closer to Atlanta than the other. Auburn just has to come up the freeway 100 miles from the Plains to Atlanta, and it's 444 miles to Charlottesville as the ACC and the SEC meeting again in a sold-out Chick-fil-A Bowl here at the Georgia Dome on New Year's Eve. We've only got about an hour and a half left to 2011. Somebody's going to be doing some celebrating in town tonight. Probably both teams' fans will, regardless of who wins or loses. Of course, our crew, none of that. Got to go to New Orleans tomorrow. Got more work to do.
Focus.
Yep, focus. Parkey to kick. Doesn't let many return guys have much fun. That'll be the case again. 8 yards deep. Shepard's like, why am I back here tonight?
Well, the only one he didn't kick like that, he recovered himself.
That's right. A good night, Cody Parkey, including that last field goal that stretched the lead to 16. Still, in theory, a 2-possession game. We'll score a couple of touchdowns and a couple of 2-point conversions. But first things first for the Cavaliers, they got to score. And they've got just over a quarter to try to do something about the 16-point deficit. This kid's been pretty good tonight, though. Michael Rocco, their quarterback. Play action has been his hot spot. Threw into a crowd and got it to Chris Bird.
Well, that's a quarterback who has a lot of confidence in a receiver making a play, even in tight coverage. I mean, you had a linebacker, Jake Holland, there, and a corner, Chris Davis, both in a position to make a play, but Bird comes away with the football. And sometimes with a receiver that's that good, you give him a chance to make a play for you.
You can't tuck it in there much better than that. And now spinning on the ground. I don't think he went down, but he finally will. Perry Jones kept his balance. And that is going to bring the third quarter to a close. Exciting football game in Atlanta. Gene Chizik said everybody together. We got 15 more minutes to play, and we will have a bowl victory. Zion starting a new tradition here at the Chick-fil-A Bowl at the end of three quarters as we are 90 minutes away from 2012. 15 minutes to play football, though. And Clifton Richardson with a tough run and a first down for Virginia. Got it out close to midfield. Cavaliers offensively have mixed it up beautifully tonight. Their special teams is the reason they're down right now 40-24.
Well, and even that punt that they allowed to hit the ground and start that possession on the 6, that led to the safety.
That's right. Play action for Rocco. Fires down the middle on a crossing route, and he's got Chris Bird again. Ball came out. It's covered by Virginia.
All night. I mean, run the ball, have some success, then play action off the same look and throw the deep crossing routes most of the time to that guy.
And a good night for Chris Bird, that's for sure. And he's down right there. Came in with 60 catches for 810 yards on the year. Number 2 all-time receiver in Virginia history. Richardson short gain that time. Emory Blake and Chris Bird, 2 main targets for their respective quarterbacks tonight. They both had really outstanding games. For Chris Bird, though, a couple touchdowns. Blake, his catches led to touchdowns.
Yeah. Well, he's a dynamic guy, and you can see the difference that he makes with this offense. Not only catching the ball, but also just being out there, his presence.
Rocco gave it off to Parks, and he's going nowhere. Lemonier and company there to meet the Virginia tailback. Virginia with a huge third down coming up here.
Well, this might even be 2-down territory right here for Bill Lazor. He may be thinking 2 plays to pick up this 12 rather than just 1.
He's certainly saying, let's go. We're wasting time. Rocco hit as he throws, and did he tuck it in there again to Bird? No catch.
Gabe Wright was in there pretty quickly. For the most part, Michael Rocco's had good protection tonight and the ability to step up and throw. This time Gabe Wright's going to get to him right as he's releasing the football, and he's not able to step through the ball and get enough on that pass. The ball clearly hit the ground before it got to Bird.
Well, it's 2-down territory anyway, even though it's still 4th down in a bunch. 4th and 12. And again, the Auburn faithful are making it tough on the Virginia offense. Blitz coming as well. Rocco, ball incomplete, I don't know if it was tipped or if it just wobbled out of his hand, but it didn't have much on it.
Yeah, one way or the other, you're right. It did come out of there looking a little bit different. And Bird is hurt at the end of the play, diving for that ball on the sideline, and I don't think he's...
Is he holding his right shoulder? Made a diving attempt on a wobbly pass, and he is in some obvious pain. One of the stars of the night for the Cavaliers. Chris Bird, the senior wide receiver, appears that his right shoulder that was injured on that diving attempt on that 4th down pass. He's had a big night, over 100 yards receiving, tying school record set by Jermaine Crowell with his 9th 100-yard receiving night. But Auburn takes over on downs with a 40-24 lead here with 12.5 to go.
Well, this is the play that Bird got hurt. The ball was kind of wobbled out of Mike Rocco's hands. It wasn't a good pass. And as Bird went down to make the catch, right away you could see him favoring that right shoulder.
Auburn brings Kyle Frazier back in at quarterback with a 2nd and 6.
What they've done offensively, they've moved John Sullen, who started the game at right guard, out to left tackle to take the place of A.J. Green.
Frazier will keep it, but only got a yard or 2. Cam Johnson submarined him to make the stop as we take a look at our quarterback spotlight, brought to you by Dove Men Plus Care. And these two guys, after Clint Mosley went down to an injury in the first quarter, they've combined for those numbers. Frazier hasn't attempted a pass, but he's got 48 on the ground. And Barrett Trotter, some of his better passing of the year, has come in this game tonight. Virginia needs a stop here with Trotter in the shotgun on 3rd and 5. They'd like to keep this drive going of your Auburn Tiger fan just to use some more time. And there's a wraparound handoff to McCallum, and he's got a 1st down and a bunch more. Ontario McCallum, huge night. Filling the void left by the suspended Michael Dyer, the All-SEC tailback. And this guy's having an All-SEC bowl game type of night. Look at this wraparound. They almost dropped it.
And it's not an easy exchange anyway, but when you have a guy that quick who maybe takes off a hair sooner than he should, it's really tough. That ball stayed on his hip for a little bit, and it was kind of like Trotter just pushed it around in.
He had 2 100-yard games his rookie year, his freshman year, and he's got another one tonight. And now it's Quan Bray. His freshman, he got ripped out of bounds. Flags will fly. They'll add 15 on to Virginia's Corey Mosley.
Well, Mosley's been close for a good part of this 2nd half. I mean, he's been involved in a couple things.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 7, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
A little frustration, I think, on the part of Mosley.
Senior out of Richmond, playing his final game in a Cavalier uniform. So Auburn not only keeps the drive alive, they have a couple good-looking plays, and then pick up 15 more, and they're down in the red zone again. Trey Mason back in the backfield with Trotter. And he's going to get the carry. Brought down by Talaferro. So Auburn will see the clock tick inside the 10-minute mark before they snap it again.
Auburn closing in on their highest point total of the entire season. They scored 42 against Utah State in the opener. That's the most they scored at any game this year. Scored 41 on 2 occasions.
They had to come from behind in that one, that 42-point effort. Tonight they might win this one going away if they can get another touchdown. Frazier brought down for a loss. Eight games last season of 300+ yards rushing. Cam Newton did a lot of that. Dyer did a lot of that. And tonight they got 242 with Gus Malzahn calling his last game as offensive coordinator of Auburn. It's called a good one.
Yeah.
He hasn't left very many plays in the cookie jar.
That's for sure. Third down and 8. They fake the fly sweep, and that Trotter is heading backwards. Still on his feet. We're going to have a holding call, I think, as he got rid of the ball, and it was hit as he threw.
I don't know if that's holding or if the guy grabbed the face mask on the way back. Nope, you're right, holding. Pretty good pursuit by Brett Urban.
Holding, offense number 23, 10-yard penalty, third down.
And Ontario McCaleb, that's about the only thing he's done wrong, but he's just trying to keep that big guy off his quarterback.
Coach Malzahn, I like the plays you called, but don't make me block a defensive end anymore. We got bigger guys for that job.
There's the Chick-fil-A Bowl trophy. That's what they're playing for. Both teams have had a great time leading up to 2012 here in Atlanta. There's a funny looking set, including A.J. Green, the tackle out in the slot. Virginia's going to call timeout.
Timeout, Virginia. That is the first time out of the half.
Well, that's the first time we've seen the big fella in the slot. We'll take a timeout with him. Sports Center is indeed. That's not right. No, we got motorcycles, we got snowmobile jumps, we got Joe Tessitore after us.
ESPN College Football, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And the new Capital One Cash Card for people who want 50% more cash.
From the fabulous Fox to the Georgia Dome, as we're down to the last 9 minutes of the Chick-fil-A Bowl. And a long third down opportunity here for Auburn, leading 40-24. Trotter waiting now, going to take off on his own. He'll not get 18 yards that way, but got back to maybe field goal range.
Well, it's a good decision. You know, you don't do something foolish there. He's done a nice job of taking care of the football. You take a look downfield, it's not there. Get what you can get and set up Parkey for another nice field goal attempt.
Nailed his last one, his season-long 45. This will be a 37-yard attempt for the sophomore. He had a successful onside kick to himself earlier in the ballgame. Plenty of leg on this one, and he does add 3 more. Cody Parkey might put the lead too far in front for Virginia to have a chance. 43-24 Tigers.
As soon as you guys are done.
All right, Reese, thanks. Well, that guy, I don't know if he's just a youth of a War Eagle parent or if he's a Dick Vitale fan. I'm not quite sure. War Eagle baby. Right now, War Eagles have command of the game unless Virginia can score and score quickly. Cody Parkey not only with an onside kick recovery tonight and a couple of field goals, but he hasn't let anybody return kicks either. That's a nice weapon to have. This one will be returned from the 2-yard line. Shepard took a lick as he got across the 20 out near the 24.
It's the granddaddy of them all. Monty Ball leads the Big Ten champs into Pasadena to take on LaMichael James and the Pac-12 champion Ducks. The 2012 Rose Bowl game, Wisconsin, Oregon. Coverage begins Monday at 4:30 on ESPN.
That'll be a good one, Brent. And Kirk and Aaron will be there. We'll be in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans the night of the 3rd. Hope you join us for that one as Virginia Tech takes on Michigan. Here, the other Virginia team trying to come back from behind, and Phillips, a tight end, with a catch. There was some talk about Virginia when they played Virginia Tech, kind of in the big setting for the first time, where they had an opportunity to make it to the ACC championship game and did not perform well. Tonight, I think, with the exception for Mike London of the special teams mishaps, they played very well. Yeah, that's a nice drop step by your right tackle. The only problem is
offense number 78, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Moses was backpedaling too early.
Yeah.
And when Morgan gets backpedaling, it's hard to stop. He's 335 pounds before breakfast. Rocco throws complete. Nice catch. Out with the hands. Ray Keys, who's had a good night on special teams, and that time as a receiver.
Well, I think that Mike Rocco has played a pretty doggone good football game today.
Yep.
You know, for this Virginia offense, he's been accurate. He's been on time. He's been in command of the offense. Look at that career night. Of course, a lot of times with quarterbacks, those career numbers come in losing efforts because you're throwing it every down.
His dad's had his eyes closed for half the game. And that one is up in the air and intercepted. Jake Holland, the linebacker, off the tip ball, and Auburn's got it back. Just when we showed that Mike hadn't thrown an interception, this one might not be his fault, but now he has.
A little check down to the back, out of the backfield. It's a little bit behind Parks, but Parks is not able to secure the catch. It gets on his back. He gets hit. It flips up in the air, and Holland comes down with the interception.
Bates made the hit. Holland the interception. And the reaction from mom and dad. And now Auburn's got it back, and they just like to salt away the next 7 minutes here. And they come with a play that got him a touchdown earlier in the ball game. It's got to be the first time they've called the same play twice, isn't it? Yeah. At least that kind of play.
Pretty smart play that time by McCaleb, too. Even though he lost yardage, he went down inbounds to keep the clock moving. I mean, they realize they don't need any more points. They just need to run the clock. And a lot of times you wonder, a team that likes to play this fast and no huddle, can they milk a clock? Well, yeah, they still can. They don't have to play fast even if they don't huddle. And that time McCaleb made a good decision to go down inbounds.
Ontario goes out. Trey Mason in the backfield for Auburn. They fake it to him and throw the quick pass to Blake. Emory Blake's had a nice night after coming back and finally being healthy. We were talking with him. I said, do you have a good arm? Do they ever let you throw? And he said, no, I got a good arm. Of course, his daddy had a great arm, played 14 years in the NFL, Jeff. But he said, I spent so much time growing up with my dad throwing passes to me that pretty much I was born to be a receiver, I guess. And again, they stay in bounds. They're going to use as much clock as they can here. McCaleb checks back in. They've got plenty of time to look. The Gus Malzahn on the sideline. And now they'll work it all the way down to the last second before they snap it. Trotter pump fakes. Now he's in trouble and got a block from Green. Still on his feet. Barrett Trotter looking like Fran Tarkenton here. And he got another block. And he's got a first down. Wow. Good for him. Been a tough year, but it's been a good night.
Well, Kyle Frazier may very well be the quarterback of 2012 for Auburn. But to finish out 2011, it's Barrett Trotter's football team tonight.
Yep. A 16-second play that time, all Barrett Trotter with some help from his buddies up front. So a first down and more using of the clock, and now Mason on the inside stretching it out for all he can. Virginia has 2 timeouts remaining. This might be one of those where Mike London says, let's just keep playing. Score seemingly out of hand at 43-24. Don't forget, we'll have the trophy ceremony for the Chick-fil-A Bowl on ESPN3 after the game. It's going to be some happy Auburn Tigers. And you know, amazingly, Gene Chizik has never lost a bowl game as a GA, as an assistant coach, as a coordinator at both Auburn and Texas, and as a head coach now here at Auburn. So he's going to keep his streak perfect. Mason running over guys, trying to rip the ball out of there, but he'll get another first down, and the clock will continue to move.
Well, we talked about the importance for both of these teams of wanting to win this game. They both ended the regular season getting beaten badly by their in-state rivals. Virginia got shut out by Virginia Tech. Alabama put a big loss on Auburn. And Auburn was trying to avoid something else. If they would have lost this game tonight, it would have been the most losses for a defending national champion since Ohio State in 1943.
Yeah.
So they wanted that 8th win very badly, and they've earned it tonight.
Virginia's players, even the 50-year seniors who were redshirted, had never been in a bowl game. So it was a great experience for them. They're going to lose it, unfortunately. But for Auburn, they got 40 guys that never been in a bowl game, too. And you forget that part. So there's a lot of youth. And in this case, Virginia being youthful as far as bowl appearances.
And Auburn will continue their bowl winning streak.
Yep.
This will make 5 in a row.
And they will go to 22-13-2 in their 37 bowl appearances. Final 3 minutes. Trotter out in the flat to Bray. Trying to cut back. Got inside the 10 to the 8. Rodney McLeod there to meet him. So I think a little bit more of Bray tonight. And we'll see a lot of him in the future. Kid from Georgia, from LaGrange. And played at Troup County High School, but he's got a tremendous upside. Great speed. And then there's this guy who finally came back healthy tonight. And he'll be a senior next year, Emory Blake. Frazier, Caleb now joining in the backfield. Frazier might get a chance to throw one. Nope, guess not. But he'll run it for close to another first down. And we'll be inside 2 minutes the next time Auburn has to snap the football. And as we said, there's one coach going out. There's one that will be back in the Plains next year to start his 4th season. Auburn in the national championship from a season ago.
Gene Chizik just went over to Gus Malzahn and told him to go for it, too.
It's 4th down and less than 1. Frazier. And that big body of his just got the one. And we don't need a fight in the last minute and a half of the game, guys. And it's 1st and goal, Auburn. So the SEC is going to continue doing pretty well in the bowl season. The Tigers will be 8-5. Those 5 losses, all the teams in the top 16 in the country in the rugged SEC. And now the play everybody loves if you're quarterback, and good for Barrett Trotter, but even better for this guy, our Capital One player of the game. On a night when he said, I want to prove to everybody that I can be an every down back with Michael Dyer out, he did it all. 109 yards on the ground, 53 on 2 catches, and he found the end zone both ways tonight. Congratulations. And congratulations to the Auburn Tigers, who win their 8th game of the year, as they have taken the 44th Chick-fil-A Bowl, and they love playing in the Georgia Dome, and they'll be right back here in the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic next year against the Clemson Tigers, where we'll have Tigers and Tigers. Yeah, looking for their coach. And that will be the last snap. Still undefeated in bowl games, Gene Chizik.
Still trying to get him.
Well, it took him a long time. They got Gus Malzahn. That's who they were aiming that one at. Good luck, Gus, in your head coaching career at Arkansas State, as he called a beautiful game tonight on offense. Gene Chizik called his own defense. And the SEC prevails over the ACC in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Final score 43-24. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Don't forget, Red Bull New Year No Limits is coming up for Todd and Holly. Brad Nessler, Happy New Year.